Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, we'll start the countdown in just a moment. I need to get my cocktail ready. Be back in just a moment. We'll start that countdown. That's the clink of the ice, which means it's time for the countdown.
Looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
That's right, people. Get yours today, indeed. Delicious Old Humble Distilling Company's Boomtown Bourbon, available in stores, at least here locally in the state of Texas. Let me fix this damn light. At least locally here in the state of Texas, starting... Ugh, what is that? Ugh. Shave my beard and I can see my face. It's disgusting. I look like I'm... Jesus, I look like I'm 20 years younger. Yeah, I'd go with 20. I'm going to drop about 15 pounds, though. So Old Humble's Boomtown Bourbon, the legendary Boomtown Bourbon. You can find it in stores now, as a matter of fact, and that's what I'm drinking tonight. Boomtown Bourbon on the rocks. But I will have my opening shot, which is, as always, a nice, clean shot of whiskey. Cheers to you fine folks out there. Salute. Ah, delightful. Ah, so delightful. So, tonight we talk militias. It's the second part of our militia discussion. Back when we last talked about militias, it was probably about a year ago, back in probably March. We talked about the philosophical side of it, like what makes up a militia. The big question was, are you and your buddies, as a bunch of deer hunters with a six-pack of Natty Light, a militia? It was a lively discussion, but I mean, I kind of fell on the no, it's not, and not just because Well, they're not, but not just because philosophically speaking, but also legally speaking. And then we talked about it for a while. Like we kicked the idea around, and I kind of went back and forth. I mean, I figured that the idea of a militia, if you have a well-regulated militia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you should at least have some kind of organization. There should be some organizing principle behind them. There should be a leadership. There should be a hierarchy. All that stuff. Uh, and then it occurred to me that there are actual definitions of this thing. Like after the show ended, we moved on. A couple of days later, I'm like, there are actual definitions of this stuff. There's a militia in Texas, for crying out loud. I should maybe join that militia. I should report back after joining the militia. Talk to people and do some stuff. So I kicked around that idea and I called them up and I went through, well, we'll talk about all that stuff in a minute. This is part two. This is the legal definition. This is the legal, actual, defined militia. You and your buddies with a 6-pack of Natty Light and a couple of deer rifles are not a militia. Legally speaking, because there's a legal definition of what your militia is in your state. Almost all states have at least an inactive. Very few don't have even an organized state militia. But I got that list too. We'll talk about those guys in a minute. But before we do that, I've got housekeeping. Basic housekeeping. Look here, we are at 1,650 subscribers. I think what I might do, I am considering a whiskey giveaway if we hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of February. If we hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of February, I am seriously considering giving away a signed bottle of our Boomtown bourbon. Seriously considering that. I may make that decision today. I might make that decision today. Did we lose the stream? What's going on here? Oh, there it is. Okay. My monitor over here went dark. So I'm thinking about that. If we hit 2,000 subs, right over there, if we hit the 2,000 sub mark, I may go ahead and decide to give away a bottle of whiskey. How's that sound? That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Let me know if you think that's a good idea or not. You pop into chat and say, yeah, give away a bottle of whiskey, you stupid whiskey man. Obviously, that's a good idea. Or let me know it's a bad idea. Like, no, why would you give away a bottle of whiskey? Who wants a bottle of whiskey? That's dumb. Obviously, people don't drink whiskey because they're no fun and sad and disappointing. Next week's happy hour, we have a guest. We're interviewing Hey Guido, a contributor, OnlyFans contributor, a model, performer, however you want to describe her. And we're going to be talking about deepfakes, AI, and deepfakes, AI, and how it's going to affect the industries, the sex work industry going forward, especially the online community. Because if you don't need to pay actors to do things, and you can make them do whatever you want because they're just CGI generated act bots. Well, how does that affect the OnlyFans community? How does it affect Pornhub? How does it affect all of the places and things? How does it affect video? How does it affect? Obviously, it wouldn't affect live, but we'll talk about all that next week. That's gonna be next week. I do have some live day in the life stuff coming tomorrow night, Wednesday or Thursday night. We are going to replace trivia night with game night. Instead of having a regular Thursday night trivia, we're going to do regular Thursday night games, which will include trivia, but also other games. We'll have our Restream portal up. We'll have all the stuff in order for people to come in and join us, and we can play games. You can play in chat. You can play on forum. We'll have lively discussion, lively games. Do Would You Rather, trivia. We'll do online live trivia, and people in chat can participate as well. We will do. We've got all kinds of stuff that we're working on playing with and kicking around. Little ideas that I'm kicking around, trying to see how we can redo our Thursday nights and do them a little better, do them a little bit more fun. But tomorrow night, Thursday night, we're going to do some kind of game night, maybe even Jackbox stuff. I haven't decided yet to pull the trigger on Jackbox, but I'm thinking about it. Pull the trigger. See what I did there? But doing trivia, doing Jackbox, doing just regular generic games like Would You Rather and all the other stuff. Bimbo Barbarella is in the house. Cheers, Miss Bimbo Barbarella. Welcome to the party. Um, we'll get onto the topic in a minute. I still have a little bit of housekeeping to finish up. Our bottles, our Boomtown. I said last week our distributor was going to come on Tuesday and pick up all of our whiskey. If you didn't have a reserved bottle, it was going to be really challenging to get a bottle because once the distributor comes and picks it up, I'm only going to have a handful left behind. Well, I only have a handful left behind. I have about 11 bottles left at the distillery. The rest are set aside for marketing, display, giveaways, festivals, etc., until I get a refreshed batch. So if you didn't reserve your bottle and you can't make it to the distillery, if you can't make it to the distillery, that's fine, because you have to be at the distillery to pick up your bottle. But if you didn't reserve a bottle and you're expecting to come and get one, the sooner you get to the distillery, the better off you'll be. If you wait until the end of February, you're not going to get a bottle of this first batch. It's not going to happen because the next batch will be coming out at the end of February, beginning of March, and that's the batch, the next bottle that you'll have a chance to get. But this batch from the end of January, this batch 0420 0423-01, the 01 batch, you're not going to get a bottle. You're probably not going to get a bottle of it if you wait until Valentine's Day. If you wait until after Valentine's Day, slim chance. Slim chance. There's a possibility. We have a case, right about a case. You're just going to have to wait for it to come up in stores. Wait till you find it in a store near you, or until we start exporting it abroad to your locality, your state, principality, viceroyalty, municipality, whatever ality you want to call it. We're going to send it out that way. So there you go. That's my housekeeping. I'm done with housekeeping. It's time to get on with the party. It's quarter after. It's time to get on with the show. Get on with the discussion. Get on with the party. And I realize now that I didn't really optimize this video for the Second Amendment guys and the Second Amendment gals and the I fondly consider them. I fondly refer to them as amosexuals. But also, the everybody else who has even a remote interest in guns. I have an interest in guns. I have my dad's old service revolver. I have a 22 at the distillery. I wouldn't tell you where it's at because I don't like wave that thing around at the distillery. It's kind of quiet at the shop. Cheers, bacon. Welcome to the party. And yeah, I set my face on fire. I shaved it all off. Oh, you saw a hint of it a couple of nights ago where I had just the long beard, the what was it? The whatever Trejo, the Trejo beard, mustache, whatever. And man, it came down to like here. It was like this long, came all the way down here. Go look at that video from a couple nights ago. It looked ridiculous. I loved it. It was beautiful. I liked it. Well, my lovely wife hated it. I wanted to get it long enough where I could braid it and have like a little braid underneath my chin where it came around like this. I just feel a spot where I missed. Anyway, but no, I do. I'm seeing now. I've got this like little waddle here. I need to get rid of that. Gonna have to go for a run in the morning and see if I can get rid of that, or a bike ride. I need to start having a bike ride. Is what I need to do because I can't go run. Ugh. Not like I used to. I can run like I can run. I can still run, but I can't run like I used to. Because I run like I used to. If I run like I used to, my knees hurt for like 3 days. Even if I walk up the fucking stairs. I'm getting old, man. I'm breaking down. But I can get back on my bike. I can get my fountain of youth. My fountain of youth and vitality is right there. My bike. It's gonna bring me back to the days of yore. So two topics that I want to see in chat. Do you think it's a good idea to give away a bottle of whiskey when we hit 2,000 subscribers? If we hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of February, I mean, I want it to be a realistic goal. I think we should. It shouldn't be like 5,000 subscribers by the end of the night. But I also don't want it to be an easy. I don't want it to be like just a layup. I don't want to be like if we had 16,000 or 1,653 by the end of February. Because I mean, we'll do that tomorrow, right? I mean, we had like 10 to 20 a day with the shorts. I mean, is 2,000 a fair mark? Should I say 3,000 by the end of March to give away a whole a whole fucking bottle of whiskey? 3,000 by the end of March? I mean, what do you think? 2,000 is almost too close. I mean, that's almost a chip shot out of the rough and onto the green. You know, a pitch and wedge out of the. Maybe I should get the toss one out for a warm up. Cheers, liquor camp. Welcome to the party. Toss one out for a warm up. Bring some good energy. Maybe so. Um, I mean, maybe that's why I should like. Oh, you know what I should do? I should say we'll give away a bottle at the end of February, but if we hit 3,000 subs by the end of March, I'll give away a second. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. I'll say we're giving away a bottle at the end of March. I'm going to set up a giveaway for the end of March. That's a great idea. Y'all are brilliant. Thank you much. We're going to set up a giveaway for the end of March. Q3 giveaway for the end of March. Set a giveaway for the end of March. Giveaway end of March. End of March 2023. I gotta set a specific year here because I can say the end of March and then come back and say, well, you know, it'll be like March 2064. No, we're not gonna do that. 2023, end of March 2023. I'll set up the rules and the criteria. I'll put out a community post, set up the rules and criteria, do a video, introduce people, say, hey, we're good. Come on in here. We'll do a bottle giveaway, whatever. I'll set up the criteria. Maybe we'll attach it to game night, like the person with the accumulated points for game night over the course of February and March, because we've done that before with accumulated points for our game nights. Maybe we'll do that. You accumulate points, and then those points will be translated into drawing. And if we hit 3,000 subs by the end of March, I'll give away a second bottle of the bourbon. That'll get people to show up, I think. That'll get people to show up. That'll get people to participate. Because you show up, you participate, you get entered in to win. Yeah, we'll do that. Show up, participate, and win. Show up, participate, and win. And I'll do a short, and I'll do a short to promote it. I'll do a regular video to promote it. I'll link the two together, and we'll. A good contest would be a bottle giveaway on my birthday, 2/14/2 Bimbo Barbarella. That would be a great contest. Let me see if I can work on that. Let me put together a committee to see how to make that happen. God, I look young. Look at me. I look like I'm 34 years old. 34. I mean, golly, look at me. I look like a goddamn kid. Jesus. I look like a chubby little kid, but I look like a kid. God damn. I'm handsome. Oh, I'm a catch. I'm going to take off my hat. I'm a little bit bald, but that's terrifying. Hang on a second. I'm going to get a neutral opinion on this. She hates it when I whistle at her, too, by the way. So, she's just like, what? The lovely, talented, brilliant, beautiful, charming. Did I mention lovely? Mrs. Old Humble Guy will be making an appearance in just a moment. She hates when I do this, but I love doing this because she's just so delightful. She's just so absolutely delightful. And we'll get on with the topic at hand. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. My emotional support harmonica. Come here. She's all comfy on the couch in front of the fire, under a blanket, in her sweats, reading her doom scrolling on her phone, watching her Korean movies or whatever the fuck she's watching. And I'm just going to tell her I love her when she comes out. I'm going to be like, hi, honey, I love you. You see, the goatee just draws my chin down. When I shave off the goatee, it's like my face just lifts up, and I'm like all young and bubbly. Ah, she's not gonna come. Okay, it's fine. Oh, I just heard a thump. Did she fall off the couch? She couldn't have fallen off the couch. No way she fell off the couch. That would be funny. Oh,
which one is it?
Hi, I love you.
Love you too.
Do you think I look better without the facial hair?
Yes.
See? The impartial third party. Is that frozen?
No.
Okay, can you put them both back in the freezer, please?
Did you put this in the freezer?
I did on
Okay, I
purpose.
didn't know if it was you or Karen.
Can you put them both back in the freezer, please?
I suppose so.
I love you.
If I put it upside down, it would be kind of funny if I did it over your head.
Why would you put it upside down? It would pour out. It's not frozen.
I know. It'd be cold and you'd scream.
She's a terrorist over here is what she is.
But I'm not going on screen, so I won't do it.
I love you.
But
you're beautiful.
It would be
Everybody says you're gorgeous and beautiful, and you have a gorgeous, beautiful voice. Can y'all hear her? Isn't she just gorgeous sounding?
I'm gorgeous.
She sounds like Samantha Fox.
Gorgeous, tell you, gorgeous.
Hey, I'm gonna grow my beard back out, but only from here down. I'm gonna shave everything except here, instead of the other way when I had like. So, for those of you who weren't here on Monday or Tuesday, whenever the hell I did my last live stream, I had shaved my beard, and I had the goatee. Had a goatee for like, I don't know, a month, and it was just this. It was just here, and it was like down to here, and it stretched my face out, so like my face looked super long, right? But then I just shaved it like right here, and it was just the mustache and the it was the mouth sideburns, and it just came down, and it hung down to about here because like my beard was so damn long. It came down to like right about here. But my fingers aren't even. It came down to like right here, and it was funny. It looked ridiculous. It looked ridiculous and awesome at the same time. And I could sit here and like twirl my little braids, and I could bring them together down underneath my chin. I could bring them up. I could put them in my mouth if I wanted to. That's how long my fucking hair was. She hated it. She hated it. She wouldn't look at me. She wouldn't kiss me. I did it Sunday. I did it Monday afternoon, and she's like, I hate it. Don't even kiss me. Don't talk to me. I don't want to see it. Don't want to do it. I didn't do it Sunday. Sunday is when I did the children. I did the children's sermon at church on Sunday, and I wasn't going to go show up with like my chin like bare. But I think next time what I'm going to do is I'm going to grow my beard out, and I'm going to like shave an Amish beard. I'm just like going to shave it down here. I'm just going to have it down here. So yeah, I'm a bullet. But it does. It takes like 20 years off my age when I shave. Anyway, let's get on with the fucking stuff. Let's do the thing. Let's get on with the thing. I should have asked for a refill. Damn it. All right. Anyway, let's go on with things. So militias. Let's go on with the show. Militias. So what we were doing, what I did about a year ago, probably mid-March sometime, I did a show on militias. It was a philosophical discussion about militias. And I'm gonna freeze up my chat here at 11 Liquor Camp. I'm gonna have Liquor Camp be my last comment there. Where you agree with Barbarella's idea. We are going to do a giveaway. Details will be released tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the first day where we start recording participation for the liquor giveaway. And it will be a bottle of our legendary Boomtown Bourbon. Right there, legendary Boomtown Bourbon. This is a half bottle. We'll do a full bottle. Legendary Boomtown Bourbon. And it will be from the exceptional batch 0423-01 old label. Maybe it'll be the new label. Maybe it'll be our new label that we give away. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. Maybe the bottle hasn't even been made yet. Maybe it hasn't even been made. I mean, the bottle's been made, but the bottle of whiskey, filled with whiskey, maybe it hasn't even been made yet. What do you think about that? Oh, man. Maybe it'll be a twofer. Maybe it'll be our blackout bourbon plus our Boomtown blackout bourbon plus our Boomtown traditional bourbon. Maybe it'll be a twofer. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, if we hit 3,000 subs by the end of March, that's a big damn deal, right? That's a big damn deal. Doubling our subs in a month? 2 months. I mean, we added 1,000 subs last year in 2022. I mean, it would be unprecedented growth, unprecedented development. And I'll do my part. I'll come hang out with the whiskey tubers, folks like Liquor Camp and the Distinguished Gentleman or the Functional Gentleman and Whiskey Tribe and all those guys. I'll introduce myself, hang out with them, get to know their people, their subscriber base, and like introduce myself and try to promote the whiskey through them and promote the channel through them and promote them through us and do all the stuff. But I also want to add another show like on Sunday nights where we like do a weekend review and a weekend preview and have a discussion in both directions of the next 7 days and the last 7 days on Sunday nights specifically. The challenge with that though is on Sunday nights I got to get up on Monday mornings. And it's really tough to be up till 3:30, 4 o'clock on Sunday night and wake up at 6, 7, 8 o'clock on Monday morning. Anyway, we'll talk. We'll deal with all that later. We'll deal with all that. That's open for discussion in the second half of the show. Right now, I want to talk about the militias. So, and this was the second choice of a show for tonight, and probably not my preferred choice of a show for tonight, because the first choice for the show was talk about fascism and communism and socialism and capitalism and contrast the different systems as a philosophical politics discussion, a philosophical, political, historical discussion, kind of all combined and put together. But then I was like, I need to revisit this militia episode because it's been almost a year. It's been mid-March. Mid-March, I think, was when I did the first half of the militia discussion. We talked about the philosophy, and it wasn't supposed to be a first half. It was just supposed to be a militia discussion. But it was a philosophical talk. In fact, I'm going to find that. Excuse me. I should probably find that and post it. Live. If I go back far enough, I can find it pretty easy, I bet. Excuse me. Streamed 5 months ago. Streamed a year ago. Most of my stuff is live. If I find it, Whiskey Behind the Scenes streamed 9 months ago. Go back to about 11 months ago. March was a busy month last year. Day in the Life, Ask Me Anything, Happy Hour episode 15. Really? 1 year ago. Okay, let's move forward up beyond that. Because that was November. How can you survive an apocalypse? Round Earth math. Can we explain the Ukraine war? The answer was probably no. How to protect democracy? We're near there. Are high oil prices due to Russia and Ukraine? No. What is cancel culture? Classic trivia. Can we explain the war in Ukraine? Stories to tell around the campfire. I don't remember what that show was. Flat Earth theory nonsense. How to use money to buy happiness. Whiskey trivia. Mic Check Theater. What the fuck was that? Let me find it. I know it's in here. Peace Retailing. Explaining the marvels of pie. This was 9 months ago? I thought for sure pie makes the earth go round. Some kind of trivia game. Euclid. Unpacking free speech. Oh, we're getting close. The art and science of whiskey. Liberty without privacy. We're getting really close. How do we protect our rights? Oh man, I throw some hard fucking hitters. There it is. What is a well-respected militia? This was 8 months ago. All right, we'll throw that in chat. We'll throw that link in chat so you can go Y'all can go peruse it at your leisure. There it is. So the whole point of that exercise was basically it was a philosophical discussion. Are you and your buddies with a few deer rifles and a 6-pack of Natty Light, are y'all a militia? The answer to that is no, you're not. Not legally, not practically, not realistically. You might be a club, a gun club. You might be a group of people of enthusiastic rebels, potential collaborators, whatever, whatever you want to call yourself. You're not a militia. Not like citizen protection force, CPF, whatever you want to call it. But like a militia has a hierarchy and rankings, and they have leadership and they have organization, and they are like by definition, right? It's like a citizen army, but even a citizen army by definition has rank, file, leadership, membership. They have organization. That way you know who's in the army. You know who the citizens are. You know what the function is. You have a purpose. You have a function. You have a mission, right? Like even a neighborhood citizen watch group is technically a militia. A citizen watch group, you got a bunch of guys walking around, sometimes girls, mostly guys, usually, driving around in their little van, and they have like cameras to take pictures of ne'er do wells. Let's face it, black guys walking around your white suburban neighborhood. They're driving around the neighborhood looking for people who don't belong. They're taking pictures of them, calling the cops, saying, "Hey, we found a guy who doesn't belong. You might want to check this thing out." Harassing the cops and telling the cops how to do their job. But there's also real citizen patrol groups, citizen watch groups that walk around and they do what they need to do. They do the best they can to kind of keep kids in line, keep crime under control, and to really protect the neighborhood. Give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm being a little bit facetious and a little bit joking on this, but in real life, most citizen patrol groups are decent folks. They're just trying to protect their neighborhood. They're just trying to keep an eye on stuff. They're just trying to keep their playgrounds from being vandalized. They're trying to make sure that cars don't get boosted and broken into and all that other stuff. It's fine. I've had to do the same thing. I've driven around my neighborhood looking for the son of a bitch who broke into my fucking car. I found the motherfucker too. Found him. The cops didn't find him. I had to go back home and get my phone because I left the house without my phone because I'm stupid. And I'm not a militia. I'm not a militia by myself. You by yourself. You're not a militia either. By yourself. Because by definition, technically and definitionally and legally speaking, you by yourself can't be a militia. You have to be with a group of people. It's an organized group of people, not a single individual. A single individual is a vigilante. And when I jumped in my car, trying to find the son of a bitch who broke into my car, I was a vigilante. That's what I was. And when I came back to my house and I got my phone, and I got my I had my flashlight, I got my phone, I got my bat, and I got my gun, I was a vigilante. I was going out by myself as a vigilante, not a militia. Now, if I'd gotten a handful of people together, also, by definition, that makes the Klan a militia. That makes the Black Panthers a militia. That makes, well, a type of militia. Makes them a type. It doesn't make them a legally defined, a legally accepted organization that is a militia. It makes them a type of militia. So let's talk about the legal definition of militia, because by militia, by philosophically speaking, what we mean by militia, it's a group of people, not necessarily armed, but a group of people intended for the defense of their community or their community broadly defined as they define it. It could be their neighborhood, it could be their block, it could be their subdivision within their neighborhood, it could be it could be just the subway platform that they're standing on, whatever it is. And they don't need to be armed with guns. They can be armed with just their fists and fingers and phones. We don't need to militarize this. It could be just people literally with cameras. Literally with cameras. The Red Beret guys, the Angels, what were they called in New York City? New York City Red Beret Ding Dongs. NYC Red Beret. Guardian Angels. That's it. Yeah. Red Berets, by the way, also have a history with the French Revolution, but that's a whole other thing to talk about. The Guardian Angels in New York City, they were technically a militia. They were a citizen militia. And their job was to protect, be eyes and ears and a body of people there to protect citizens in New York City in between cops as a liaison with the cops. All that said, every single one of those groups has a distinct hierarchy. They have a leadership. They have rank and file. They have, if they have enough members, then they have squad members that answer to the next level, and it's coordinated, and there's a mission. There's a mission, there's a purpose, there's a leadership. Sometimes there's a funding, but not always. But there's a distinctly the hierarchy, membership, and leadership. There's a distinction of who is in the militia and who is not in the militia. And that's also really important because if you need to call on a militia and a militia needs to call up their members, they need to know who the members are. You need to know who to talk to. They need to know who to talk to. They need to know who's going to come. They need to have an idea. Yeah, we've got 15 people that can come help. We got 2,500 people that can come help. They need to have that number, right? Okay, so at least we got our definitions down, right? We got our understanding of what it is. It's not just a bunch of rando ding-dongs with guns. There's a specific idea that what it is. And that's what separates me with a bat and a gun and a flashlight from me and 4 or 5 people joining me walking the streets of our neighborhood in coordination with the authorities to make sure that they know that we're not the bad guys. Right? Because our intention is to help them, give them eyes and ears to make sure that they know there's people watching out for our own neighborhood when they're not around, because they can't be around 100% of the time. Okay, so we know what a militia is. We can accept that. I hope we can accept that definition. I hope we can accept what that is, right? Because one person is a vigilante. 2 people can be a small militia, but it's a militia as long as one of them's the leader and one of them's a follower. 2 people can be a militia, but let's talk about, the purpose and function of that. 2 people, what the fuck are they doing? Maybe they're just walking around their apartment complex and making sure that nothing bad happens. Maybe, whatever, fine. We want to get to, practical definitions here. 1 person is a vigilante. Technically speaking, 2 people can be a militia. Fine. Okay, I'll take that. I'll accept it. Whatever. If that's what you want to call yourself. Legally speaking, what is a militia? Well, legally speaking, we've got actual legal U.S. code to talk about this stuff. It's is that it? Nope, that's not it. The legal U.S. code is on the next page. It's that. That's it. That thick compound information, right there. That's the legal U.S. code that defines a militia. We'll close that because you can't read that. It's dumb. Oops. That's my IBS belt. We'll get back to that later. What the legal definition of militia is, defined in U.S. Code, what is it? U.S. Code, Title 10, Subtitle A, Part 1, Chapter 12, the militia. Militia composition and classes, Section 246. The militia of the United States consists of able-bodied males at least 17 years of age and, except as prohibited in Section 313 of Title 32, under 45 years of age, who are or who have made a declaration of intention to become citizens of the United States and of female citizens of the United States who are members of the National Guard. National Guard is important here, because that comes into definition later. The class of the militia are the organized militia, which consists of the National Guard and the Naval Militia. So that's the organized militia. State National Guards, which are federalized troops, which should be called up in times of mobilization. They were sent to Iraq. They were sent to Afghanistan. They were sent to Iraq again. These are people who are trained military personnel. And the unorganized militia, which consists of members of militia who are not members of the National Guard or the Naval Militia. That's an interesting part. Subsection 2 of Section 246 of Chapter 12. That's important distinction. And we'll get to that in just a second. The unorganized militia which consists of members of the militia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And these laws date back to 1903. They are old laws. They've been on the books. Prior to this, the states had their own militias. The United States had a very small standing army. The states had their own militias. When you go to Civil War battlegrounds, you'll see the state militia of Texas, the state militia of New York, Ohio, Indiana, Alabama, Mississippi. They had their Vicksburg. They have their where all the different state militias were arrayed around and organized up, and where the battle was set up. It's fascinating, brilliant. I mean, they didn't mix very much, but they had components of Alabama and components of Mississippi combined together to fight on this ridge, which is obvious because Alabama and Mississippi are practically the same fucking state, right? Don't get mad at me, Alabama and Mississippi. And also, we're going to get into chat in just a minute, so keep putting your comments down there. We'll get to it, promise. But the exemptions from military duty are the following people. The Vice President of the United States, the Judicial Executive Officer of the United States, the several states, Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Virgin Islands, which is interesting because even in the U.S.-Mexican War in the 1840s, the governor of the state of Texas was called up to serve with the militia of Texas to join the federal army and go into Mexico. The governor of the state of Texas was he left his post as governor. We had an acting governor for several years to go down and fight the U.S.-Mexican War. But he was active duty. He was active duty as part of the state militia, which was called up to serve active duty with the federal militia, so kind of state guard type of thing. Members of the armed forces, so if you're an active duty member of the armed forces, you are exempt from militia duty. Courthouse clerks, persons employed by the United States in the transmission of mail. So mailmen are exempt from militia duty. The states or the state of Texas, for example, if you're a mailman, you cannot be called up into militia duty. Workmen employed in armories, arsenals, etc. So if you work for and naval shipyards, if you work for a company that builds armaments for the federal government, you are exempt from militia duty. Pilots on navigable waters, if you're a tugboat captain in the port of Houston, and mariners in the sea of service as citizens of or merchants in the United States. So mariners in the sea service of a citizen of. So if you are a mariner working on a boat in the waters of the United States, you're exempt from merchant service, from militia service as well. And finally, a person who claims exemption of religious belief is exempt from militia duty, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So non-combatant status for your religion. But I also wanted to show this. This is, so the states have their own militias, is what I'm saying. These unorganized militias. And this is, nope, not that one. This is the state of Texas's militia website. The State Guard of Texas. They hit the news circuits about a decade or so ago when Obama had the Jade Helm exercises in the state of Texas, among other states, and Governor Abbott called up the militia to keep an eye on the National Guard troops that were doing their sworn federal duty of Jade Helm, because this was like to protect our rights or whatnot. He was basically sucking off the conspiracy theorists and giving them he's like, oh, there's no reason to think that anything's going on. But then he called these idiots up. So, like, he can say he didn't think there was any need for anything to go on, but he did exactly the opposite of that. I also want to show, there is another page I want to show off real quick with regard to this. What is going on? Come on. Oh, this is the pay and benefits page. Okay. So there's no pay associated with the Texas National Guard, but there are benefits, including hunting licenses, a daily stipend, super combo hunting license, a concealed handgun license, job protections when they're on active duty, and other. There's benefits associated with the Texas militia. They're not paid. It's an all-volunteer force. with the state of Texas. They're not paid at all, but the adjutant general of the state of Texas can decide to pay members of the Texas State Guard. And again, that's not a federal service. The Texas State Guard, by the militia, what is the militia law, the militia organizing law in the federal code, is exempt from being deployed outside of the state of Texas. The federal government cannot call up the state militia of Texas and deploy them outside of the state of Texas. They cannot be federalized. They cannot be nationalized. They are 100% separate from the National Guard. Again, another code in the U.S. National Code, whatever, that defines the laws, or that are the laws that define what the federal government can do and how they can do it. That is part of the organizing principles of the military, where you have the federal military, the state's National Guards, which are federal units, and then the state guards, which are authorized to be organized by the states. And the states can choose how they want to organize them. How do the states organize them? Well, that's another page that I have up here. How do the states organize them? Let's see. It's not showing, the fucking page didn't show me what I want to show. So I'm going to close a couple of these. That's the law that authorizes the thing. Okay, the states that authorize states' defense forces. The states that have defense forces are, well, all of them, basically. The ones that are inactive. Let's go with the ones that are inactive first. Inactive. Most of them appear to be, let's see, how many do we have active? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, including Puerto Rico. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 states have active state militias. And that would be Alaska, California, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, New Mexico, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Puerto Rico, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, of course, Vermont, Virginia, Washington. States with inactive militias: Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Delaware, Guam, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Utah, Wisconsin, Colorado, and that's it. Those are the 27 states that are inactive. And then you have America Samoa, which was never established, District of Columbia, which was never established, Montana, Nevada, North Dakota, Northern Mariana Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, West Virginia, and Wyoming never had a state militia established. Never even bothered. So those asshats running around with their camo gear and deer rifles in North Dakota are not a state militia. They're just a group of dudes that have decided they want to be a militia, and they're guarding their farms or whatever the fuck they're guarding. They're cosplayers. Weekend warriors, cosplayers. And if they're over 45, they're not part of the militia anyway. But yeah, prior to 1903, the states basically had their own reserve militias, and when the feds needed to call up an army, they would go to the states and say, hey, we need militias, send us your militias. And the various states would send people to active duty, which is why the governor of the state of Texas went to fight in Mexico in the Mexican-American War in the 1840s. But when World War I came around, the U.S. government needed to have a standing army, so they rewrote the rules, they rewrote the laws again in 1916, and Congress authorized the states to maintain a home guard, which would be separate than the standing national army. But even after World War I, the United States was not willing to have a full-on standing army, and they tried to demobilize the federal army and converted into National Guard. So they finalized the split between the National Guard and the traditional standing army, but they also finalized the split between the federal National Guard and the traditional state militias. So they took the state militias and they elevated them up to the standing National Guard that could be called up at any time for federal service. But they also took the federal army and I don't want to say downgraded, but they transitioned them into a standing reserve unit that they would always have a source of units to be turned into federal units if they needed to. But then comes World War II. World War II, they needed to do a full mobilization of the citizenry, full on draft, full on mobilization, full total war. Factories go into service. Everything. Everything goes into full production, and the National Guard needs to become a full federal service. Committed, stationed in the states, but fully federalized. So that was when the National Guard became fully federalized, and Congress amended the National Defense Act of 1918 and authorized the states to maintain military forces other than the National Guard. So this is when the state militias that we know of today came into being. And a lot of those state militias were used as civil defense forces during the Cold War. When you were talking when you talk about block captains and neighborhood captains and things like that, so that in the event of cataclysm, people would be on hand to like organize the neighborhoods after the apocalypse, right? That was the whole purpose of organizing this stuff all the way through the 50s, 60s, and into the 80s and 90s. So those civil defense drills, if you were old enough to remember this, of jumping under your the duck and cover drills, jumping under your desk, I remember that. We did that shit all the way up through 1986. I don't remember doing it in middle school, but I absolutely remember doing it in elementary school. Now they do different duck and cover drills for active shooters, but the threat of nuclear war was a real thing in the 80s. That stuff was organized by your state militias and civil defense forces. So then, now you move into the contemporary world of militias, where it's just kind of a grab bag of whatever it is that it is. I didn't really read a whole lot of that, so that was just what I remember going up through World War II and into the Cold War. So I don't want to talk about the rest. I'm kind of fuzzy on it. I'm not 100% sure about it. But again, let's talk real quick about the current active missions of the Texas State Militia. Texas State Militia, that is again the wrong page. Come on, Gregory. Do your job right. Texas State Guard missions, current active missions. We have Operation Strong Safety, Department of Defense Interface Communications Exercise, the Operation Lone Star, which we are familiar with. Operation Lone Star is the operation that buses migrants to other states in the country. It's the human trafficking operation that the state of Texas operates. That is our militia doing that, Operation Lone Star. Operation Border Star, oral rabies vaccination program. The Texas State Militia is delivering vaccinations to people, even though, our state maintains that vaccines don't work and vaccines are bad for people and it'll turn you into a zombie or whatever other dumb shit that they tell you. Support State Operations Center, support the Texas National Guard, support. So these are the support missions of the Texas State Guard, because part of the Texas State Guard's mission is to be a liaison between the National Guard and the state government and facilitate communication, basically back office stuff, kind of help fill the gaps. But past active duty operations, you can see the general mission of the State Guard when you go through these operations. The winter weather of 2021, the 72-hour blackout that we had here in Houston and across the rest of the state, that was a National Guard mission. Humanitarian relief. Operation Drawbridge 2020, Polk County tornado. Weather. Cyber response. Weather, civil disturbances in 2020. Weather, Hurricane Imelda. Weather, Hurricane Harvey. Weather, Hurricane Ike, Gustavo, Dolly. Dean, the Lake Leon flood, the Marble Falls flood, the Operation Wrangler, which was probably at the border. I want to see what Operation Alamo Shield was. I'm kind of curious. Rita, Katrina, Juan, or Ivan, space shuttle debris recovery, and of course the infamous Jade Helm from way back when. This is the Texas Tribune. Jade Helm dates back to 2015 when Abbott mobilized the state guard to keep an eye on the National Guard, because a bunch of dipshits with deer rifles running around the National Guard is exactly what they need to have around those guys. And I can say a bunch of dipshits with deer rifles because I looked into being recruited by those guys. I contacted them. I was interested. I wanted to organize a division here in the city of Humble. They weren't willing to have me organize a division here in the city of Humble. They really wanted me to go down to the border and help with Operation Lone Star. And I'm like, I'm not really into human trafficking. But if that's the kind of thing y'all want to do, y'all do it. Go for it. Be you. Love your life. Do your thing. Let's see what Operation. Oh, it didn't actually click to it. What is Alamo Shield? Let's try this again. See if it tells me what Alamo Shield is. And we'll come back to that once it sets up. But that's what state militias are. That's what they do. They generally do humanitarian missions, climate, flooding, evacuations, disaster recovery type missions. That's generally what they do. And they're not armed by the state. They're not paid by the state. They're not generally funded. I mean, there's some logistical funding that has to be done. The state of Texas spends probably as much on its military division as it does on its schools. I don't know if that's true. I'd have to double check. I can't remember for sure. But schools are also funded through property taxes. So state funding for schools and state funding for human trafficking operations are two different pots of money. But there you go. That's what militias are. Like real militias. Real militias are not a bunch of dudes playing weekend warriors in the woods in South Carolina. Real militias sanctioned by the state are, I mean, they're doing work. They're doing real work. They're doing, generally speaking, humanitarian work throughout the state when it floods or when there's fires or when there's natural disasters and the people need help. That's generally what they do. Sometimes they put migrants on buses and send them to Martha's Vineyard because your governor's an asshole. Sometimes. But sometimes they do other things too. But they don't get paid. They're not a military division. They're not an official military division. But they are acknowledged and recognized by the federal government. And they are a vital and important part of our civil defense when they're used properly. But they can also be tools for political theater. And we need to make sure that vote like crazy people. Well, no, don't vote like crazy people. Vote like sane people. Vote like your future depends on it, because the people you vote for have control of the militias in the state. That's all. That's all I have to say about that. Let's open up chat. Let's talk. Let's talk. I'm going to pop open my chat window. Boop. It's actually fucking hot in this room. Let's open up the chat window, and where we were in chat is where we will pick it back up. I think. Yeah, they're not telling me what Operation Alamo Shield was. Look it up in chat, guys. Get to it. See what you can find. Let's open up the chat box. All right. Where were we? Did I lose it? No, here it is. We're good. Just don't hide the documents by my Corvette. Very important to know. And you second Barbarella's idea. And I do too. I like her idea. Nice channel. I agree. Nice channel. I agree with your about section. Okay. I am smoking, just so y'all know, I'm using my fog hat right here to smoke my bourbon. Give it a nice smoky walnut flavor. And I'll even show this as a display real quick. Get my wood nice and smoky. You can see the smoke descending into the glass. Look at that. I'm going to cook this for about a minute. We're going to get nice and smoky. Really just cascading down onto the whiskey there. Make sure it's nice and burned. Then it will descend into the glass. Give me a nice smoky feel to it. See if you can see the chemistry happening at the top. You can actually see, I don't know if you can pick it up on camera, but I can see from where I'm at, I can see the particles dripping in, like literally dripping into the whiskey. As you watch it, and it grabs hold of the water, or the grabs hold of the whiskey, and it literally, you can just like see little tendrils of it dripping down in there. Really cool to watch. Really cool to watch. I'm going to let it sit there for a minute as we start to scroll through chat. I'm going to cook there's a couple more pieces of wood in here that need to be burned up. Just a couple more pieces of wood in there. Oops. And then I close it up, let the smoke fall. Put my torch over there. All right, back into chat. So many isms, so little time. Mike McClune's in the party. Cheers, Mike. Good to see you. Bimbo Barbarella's bailing early. That's fair. Good night, Barbarella. Glad you made it. Glad you made it for the time you made it. Cheers, Sunflowers. Welcome to the party. Somebody's birthday is next Wednesday. Wonder who that could be. Just saying nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Is it Mike? Is it your birthday next week? Is that your birthday? Well, happy birthday. Welcome. Welcome to you on your birthday. Asking for a friend. Okay, I hear whiskey makes a great birthday gift. I hear it does. You should get somebody to buy you a bottle and send it your way. Guardian Angels are still active in New York City. That's cool. They should be. Most of them did good work. Some of them were bad apples, and they got a bad rap. But most of them did good work. Most of them did good work. Just like the Black Panthers. Most of them did good work. Some of them got a bad rap. They single-handedly caused California to change their gun laws. Where does the sovereign citizen movement fit into this? The sovereign citizen movement is a bunch of wackadoodles who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, that's a sovereign citizen is it doesn't fit into any of this shit. Sovereigns, oh Jesus, that'd be a whole show in and of itself. Sovereign citizens are just people who think they're exempt from laws, but they're not like fucking. They're not. They are citizens of the United States. They're not exempt from federal law and legal prosecution in the United States. And it's really funny when they go to court and they're like, "I'm a sovereign citizen. Your laws don't apply," and the judge is like, "Actually, they do." Guilty. Pennsylvania General Assembly Title 51 PA National Guard, PA Guard and Militia. Updated in 1976 here in Pennsylvania. There you go. States define their militias. Pennsylvania is one of the states that has an active militia. They define their militias. It's not just a bunch of dudes with guns. Sometimes it's dudes without guns. It can. I mean, the official definition of militia would be something less than an organized military force, but like I said, neighborhood guard, guardian angels, those guys. But I mean, hell, technically, the Hell's Angels could be considered a militia. They're organized. They have a hierarchy. They have a specific membership. They fund themselves through meth and drugs and all the other shit, dues, membership dues, and however else they fund themselves. They do. They are a very organized militia. They're not a state militia or federal militia or something that you can actually count on for defense of the country. They're an outlaw militia, but they're technically a militia. Vice News has videos on YouTube about militias in the USA. Yeah, and actually, how this fits into a topic in a couple of weeks, I'm trying to get Jeff Gwynn, yeah, on the show, who is the author of Waco, the David Koresh story that the or the Netflix series was based on those books. I'm trying to get him to come in as a guest on a Wednesday night so we can do an interview with him because this was an illegal militia that was being formed in Waco. They were stockpiling weapons illegally, stockpiling weapons in their little compound. And this was a whole like circumstance of people who wanted to die and cops who wanted to kill them. And it didn't end like it was cops that didn't want to use I take that back. It wasn't cops who wanted to kill. It's cops who didn't want to use deadly force, but were put in a position where they had no choice because the people at Waco, David Koresh and his gang, that was the only way they wanted this thing to end. So they put the cops in a position where they had to use deadly force. It's a fascinating story, and I really want to talk to Jeff about his book. And he's got other books he's written too about Jonestown. David Koresh, Jonestown, and another one. And oh god, he's a fascinating author, fascinating guy. I want to talk with him about this so badly. I don't know if he'll stick around for the forum people to come on after, but I'm going to change the format of our Wednesday night show next week to a StreamYard format where I'll do the topical discussion and then we'll bring in the forum for people to discuss. But next week we're going to have an actual interviewee talking about the topic du jour, and then we'll bring people in to discuss what she talked about because she can only give me an hour. So she'll give me an hour. I'll ask her all the questions. If she has time to take questions from people and if she's willing to take questions from people, we'll do it. But I mean, I won't be able to answer on her behalf, but I'll be able to like talk about the discussion. So there you go. I'm so looking forward to next week's show. It's gonna kind of be a test circumstance, whatever you want to call it. It'll be a tester for future operations and how we do things going forward. The organized militia shall consist of the Illinois National Guard. Illinois is a state that has a organized militia. Yes. Prohibition on private military units. Illinois law makes it illegal for groups of people to organize as private militias without permission from the state, which means unless you have authorization from the state, you are not a militia. You are just a bunch of dickheads with guns, or a private gang, a gang, which would be an illegal organization of men and women. And we all know what a gang looks like: Crips and Bloods and all that shit. That is illegal. Ooh, God, smoky whiskey is so good. It is a misdemeanor for any body or men or women other than regularly organized militia of the state. And that is how they arrest gangs and gangsters. And Chicago had a problem with gangs and gangsters in the 1930s and 1940s and going forward. It was a big problem. It was a big problem in Chicago. They had a whole thing about it. Elliot Ness and all that shit. Al Capone, and that is one of I mean, that's people think that you organize a militia and do like militia stuff and you're like militia thing and you have your guns and you have your camo and you go do your paintball stuff and you run around and your weekend warriors. But that is no different from Hell's Angels with their motorcycle gang, selling meth and beating the piss out of people who get in their way, or the Southside Stranglers or whatever fucking gang they wanted who sell weed and crack and meth and control entire projects on the south side of Chicago. Those, legally speaking, those organizations do not look any different. They don't look any different. I mean, you may think you're some kind of weekend warrior protecting the Constitution or whatever, but you're not. You're no different than a gang who controls a project on the south side of town. You're no different than an outlaw motorcycle gang that just does whatever the fuck it wants. Um, I mean, and conceptually speaking, there's very little difference between a bunch of guys with guns and a bunch of guys with guns. I mean, y'all may say your mission is one thing, but when push comes to shove, what is it? What is it really? What is it really that you're doing? And this goes back to what we were talking about last week and the week before about just honesty around around the concept, not repeating talking points, not repeating shit that you see on Newsmax or OAN or Fox or the NRA website or wherever else, or CNN or MSNBC or wherever else you see things. It's not just repeating shit that other people tell you, it's being honest about your own motives and own motivations and own willingness to do this or do something in general. I mean, if you say to yourself, "Oh God, I would never use my gun against another person." Well, then why do you have a gun? I would never, ever shoot somebody. Unless that fucker was trying to steal my TV. Well, then you would shoot somebody. You either would or wouldn't, right? There's an honesty that needs to be had around these types of discussions. Um, I mean, if you would never, ever shoot your gun at a person, then why do you have a gun on your person? Why? Why carry it? What are you going to do? Shoot it up in the air, shoot it in the ground? Well, I mean, if you're using it like legit self protection against coyotes and snakes and bears and whatever else the hell else might come onto your property, yeah, fine, yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't use it against a person, but I shoot the fuck out of a bear. Makes sense. I get that. But if you're like, I'd never use it against a person, then what are you protecting yourself from? Aliens? Trees? Snakes? I mean, what are you protecting yourself from? Who are you protecting? What are you protecting? Why are you protecting anything? What are you doing? You just carrying it because you think it looks cool? I mean, that's fair. That makes sense. But be honest about it. That's all. I mean, if you're like legit in a, if you know, you're in an organized group of people, and you're like, oh, we're protecting the country from what? From who? From census census workers, from IRS agents, fucking accountants who are like, we're doing an audit. Here's our accounting. You're gonna shoot an accountant? Really? He's just doing his fucking job. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, legitimately, what are you doing? You gonna shoot law enforcement? You gonna shoot Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, who, cops? And these people talk about like, we need guns to protect our rights and all this other stuff that they talk about. But when people actually pick up guns to protect their rights or fight back against people who are abusing their rights, they say dumb shit like, "Oh, he should have just complied. He should have just laid down. Shouldn't have fought back. He should have taken it to the courts. He should have." But that's exact opposite of the stuff that you talk about. Exact opposite of the stuff you talk about, where I'm going to protect my rights, but when somebody else does exactly what you're advocating, you condemn them for being lawless. I mean, maybe the difference is as clear as black and white, but I don't see it. I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. I have trouble seeing both sides of this page. I don't know what it is. Good night, Mike. Hope you close up shop and hope you safely drive home. We'll probably be up when you get home, so come check us out. But it's an honesty. It's an honesty question. It's just being like, not repeating something that other people tell you to repeat, but just like like looking at, even if it's something that somebody else tells you to repeat, looking at it and going, is this really something that's true? Is this a thing? And that goes back to the creationism and flat Earth and all the other nonsensical shit that people talk about. Like, is this a thing that other people have told you to say, or is it like a thing you really believe? Is it a thing you really believe? True? Is it true? Don't have an opinion on the matter. um, I mean, that's fair. This isn't like the best discussion to have because it's not like an opinion. It's not an opinion matter. It's like a statement of facts. See, that's what and I'm probably falling into that trap where this is a discussion of facts and not a forum of opinions. Because I didn't want this to be I don't want this to be a debate. I want this to be a discussion. And it's harder to have a open conversation when it's watch this cool video. You sound like one of those porn bots when you do that. Shift click opens it in a new window. And that's kind of the trap you fall into when you hold fast to your edict of do not debate non-debatable topics. Smoky, you know what? I've done a video on smoky whiskey. I should probably do another one. Like what kind of smoke works well with what kind of whiskey? You know, because there's apple and walnut and oak and cherry and pecan. There's good smokes. There's smokes that go well with other whiskeys. I should probably do that. Sunflower's birthday is in March, but you don't really drink whiskey. Like how half the chat is just trying to gaslight me into sending them birthday bottles. That is a good point. That is a good point. Everybody's like, send me a bottle for my birthday. Yeah, well, no. This shit ain't free, man. This ain't free, and it's how I pay my mortgage. Actually, my wife pays my mortgage. She's the bread earner in the house. She's the boss. Some Americans think Antifa and the Black Panthers are militia. Okay, that's a good point. So the Black Panthers would be I would think the Black Panthers, they're an organization. There was a time in the 70s where they could fairly be considered a militia. Because I really do think militias need to be at least organized with the focus of either offensive or defensive behavior. Right? Because like the Salvation Army isn't a militia. IBM isn't a militia. Right? Even though the Salvation Army says Army in their title, they're not a militia. They're a civil service organization. They're a nonprofit civil service. IBM is a corporation. They're not a militia. They're an organized entity with people who have a specific hierarchy and a specific mission, but they're not what you would consider to be a militia, right? So, you know, you've got your nonprofits, you've got your child advocates, you've got child advocates who go to court and advocate on behalf of children. You've got your Red Cross, you've got your insurance companies, you've got all these organizations and corporations that are organized and they do things for the community, right? So the Black Panthers today is more of a political organization and less of a militia. In the 70s, they were very much a militant black organization that was intended to that was organized with the intention of affecting policy and protecting the black community, right? In the 70s. That changed in the 80s. It wasn't like that anymore in the 80s. I mean, they literally walked around, they walked into the capital of California carrying long rifles. And it was within 24 hours that Governor Ronald Reagan and the legislature of California banned the public carry of long rifles because it was legal prior to that. Ronald Reagan, conservative hero, he banned long rifles in public carry, open carry of long rifles in California. Ironically, the last president to be have an assassination attempt on his life. from a guy with a handgun, I believe. Was it a handgun? No, he had a semi-automatic rifle, I think. Regardless, doesn't matter. Clack, 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 clack. So in the 70s, I would have called them a militia or a civil organization with a militia wing to them. I mean, we have the Humble Whiskey Club here in town. They work with firefighters. They work with um, other civil organizations. They work with charitable organizations. They're a club. Guarantee 80% of those dudes have either handguns in their trucks or rifles in their house. Guarantee it. Probably higher percentage than that. I wouldn't consider them to be a militia. I would consider them to be a civic organization, a civil organization. I don't know if they're a civic organization, a social organization for sure. But there's three different aspects. There's social, civic, and militia, right? So you can be social, just hanging out with each other. Civic, where you hang out with each other and try to affect politics. And militia, where you may not have any interest in politics, you may not have any interest in hanging out, but there's certainly a social aspect to it. But the whole point is to be, armed and prepared for whatever. So today, I wouldn't consider the Black Panthers to be a militia organization. They probably have divisions within them that consider themselves to be militias. 3 or 4 people, or 10 or 12, or dozens, who knows, that organize themselves as militias. A militant wing of the Black Panther organization. But I don't think that they're considered to be militias today. The Ku Klux Klan, for a long time, was both civil, political, and militia organization. To a large extent, their political influence has dwindled with one of the major parties, most of the major parties, one of the major parties, they're still fairly influential. They're no longer a militant organization. They're since the 50s. There's no more. The lynchings have gone away. They've kind of institutionalized that. God, I am throwing fucking fireballs today. I might keep that shit back to myself. There's no longer lynchings, no public square executions, extrajudicial public square executions. God damn, I want to say something about Tyree. I won't. I'm not gonna. But I wouldn't consider them to be a militant. I would still consider them to be probably a terrorist organization, but a very low influential terrorist organization. And when it comes to Antifa, there's no organization that's Antifa. There's no leader. There's no there aren't lieutenants. There aren't organized chapters of Antifa. There's not the Seattle chapter and the Houston chapter and the Northeast Houston, Northwest Houston, Division 23 chapter of Antifa. That doesn't exist. There's not a hierarchy. There's no organization that's Antifa. People that think of Antifa as an organization don't know what Antifa. They're repeating shit that other people have told them. They don't know what they're talking about. It's not a thing. It's a thing. There's people who share the ideology, share the thought of being anti-fascist, but they are largely independent groups of people. I may be completely ignorant of the hierarchy of Antifa. There may be a grand wizard of Antifa somewhere. I don't know. I don't know anything about the people. I don't think it exists. I don't think there's an organization. The Black Lives Matter movement has a nonprofit organization. They have a president. They have a chapter. Different chapters around the country. They have people who run and maintain the messaging for the Black Lives Matter movement. There are, state, local, national chapters. That's a thing. I wouldn't consider them to be a militia. That's more of a civic and social organization than a militia. They're not armed. They're not saying, okay, here's where we need to take military or militant action. Arm yourselves and protest at the fucking Capitol or whatever. They're not the Proud Boys. Yeah, I said it. um. So yeah, I mean, that would say that. I don't think they're right. I mean, people can say whatever the fuck they want, but I just don't think that that foots to reality. You know, that's like saying that Simon and Schuster is a militant organization, just because, or a militia, because they have a president, they have a board, they have a uh, regional vice presidents, they have uh, district managers, and they have division managers. But that doesn't make them a fucking militia. They're a publishing company. They're social. They're not even political. They're a social company. That's it. They're social and economic. So yeah, I mean, like that's where the philosophical part comes in. That's like, what are we going to be as an organization? What do we want to be? What is our mission? What do we want to be? Like, if I had 100 employees at the distillery, I could, if we were making millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars at the distillery, I could definitely create a security division, train them, and then send them off on missions, like be militant. Like the Old Humble Distilling Company militia could exist. There's a private army that's fighting in Ukraine. A militia, um, a private corporation that runs a fucking military that's fighting a war in Ukraine. We've had that in the United States. Blackwater, that became Black, whatever the fuck they are. They were fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq. You could do it with your company, but like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you divert your resources into creating this militant arm of your corporation? I mean, Exxon, it would make sense for Exxon to do it, to literally build a navy to defend, to escort their tankers and defend their shipping lanes. But they've got a whole fucking U.S. Navy to defend their shipping lanes on their behalf. So why would Exxon do it? Exxon doesn't have to do it. The Exxon has Exxon, Chevron, um, Shell, all these companies. They have the whole U.S. military apparatus to go in and invade companies in order to protect their drilling rights. Countries, not companies. Whole U.S. military apparatus to go and defend their drilling rights in foreign countries and to defend their shipping lanes. Um, I, I mean, the USS Maersk, not the USS Maersk, the Maersk, the shipping company where the Captain Phillips was hijacked and Captain Phillips was taken hostage. The U.S. military came and rescued him. The last thing going through those hijackers' heads was a bullet from a sniper from a U.S. Marine. I mean, these companies don't need to build navies, but they could. They're billion-dollar corporations. They could build a fucking navy if they wanted to. Carnival Cruise Lines has a navy. They're just a civilian navy. If they wanted to put guns on their cruise ships, they could. They don't have to. Why would they? The Pirates of the Caribbean don't exist anymore. All the pirates are in the Indian Ocean, Gulf of Somalia, rather. Um, ironic little fact is that the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Major League Baseball team, has been around longer than Pirates of the Caribbean were active. Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean was a period of about 15 to 25 years. The Pittsburgh Pirates have been around for almost 100. So, little baseball trivia there. I'm a big fan of baseball. I love baseball. You're probably going to be talking about baseball a lot. Costco might be sup, Liquor Camp. Liquor Camp, we need to I think maybe we should do a collaboration. Where are you located, Liquor Camp? Are you in Houston or are you somewhere, uh, Liquor Camp? Liquor Camp. You were in Ohio, if I recall. I think you're in Ohio, a state that has a militia, by the way, a legal state militia. Um, Pretty sure every major religion society frowns upon straight up murder. What? Tifa and Black Panther malicious thoughts. Who fucking talking about murder? Murder is evil. said all the Christians, but never in self-defense. Yeah, well, yeah, you see, that's just the thing. Murder in self-defense is not considered murder, but there's a whole group of fucking Christians that think Kyle Rittenhouse is a goddamn hero. I'll let that be. Of course, ex post facto, he two of the people that he killed were like bad people, but that's not how we define behavior. That's not how we justify behaviors. Behavior is in and of itself. You don't get to say, "Oh, well, it was okay," because it turns out the people he killed were bad people. Well, guess what? He's a bad person too. I mean, he is a bad person. Empirically speaking, he's a bad person. But yeah, murder is evil. Generally, I mean, it's murder is a legally defined term. The Ten Commandments, where the fourth commandment that says, "Thou shalt not kill." In some translations, "Thou shalt not commit murder." In other translations, the actual Hebrew language says, "Thou shalt not take another's life in the throes of passion." So you shall not, with anger or with frustration or with passion, take another man's life. Which is to say that if you don't emotionally kill somebody, I think I'm getting that right. No. I have that asked backwards. "Thou shalt not" is the traditional translation, but the word is take someone's life without passion. You shall not in cold blood or in premeditated sense or in a God, I think I have that right. God, it's been so long since I've looked at this. But it's like dispassionately. No, that's not right because like executions are intended to be dispassionate. But the defense for murder was that I was like it was the peak of passion. I have to look back into that. But murder is a legal term. Is what the point of this is. Murder is a legal term. So evil is a moral term. Murder is a legal term. So saying a legal term is a moral term is problematic, philosophically speaking. We define murder in various ways because Jesus would define murder, taking a life, as creating the conditions under which someone would die. You withhold water from somebody and they die of thirst. You have killed them. You burn their crops and they starve. You've killed them. You kill their livestock and they die of starvation. You've killed these people. You didn't take the axe to their throat, but you killed them. You hate them in your heart. You've killed them. That's murder, according to the Christian theology, according to Jesus himself. So, like, the way we legally define murder is very different than the way the proper Christian definition of murder is. Because, if you give somebody a job and if you pay them substandard wages and they, living wage is whatever, $15, $20 an hour and you pay them $7, you're not committing murder legally, but according to your Lord and Savior, you are indeed committing murder because you are not paying them a living wage. And they're having to choose between medication and food, or medication and rent, or food and rent and medication. They're having to make that choice. And if you put them in a position through your policies or your pay that they have to choose, if you vote for people that support policies that put these people in a position where they have to choose medication, life-saving medication versus food, then you are also that. It's as bad as pulling the fucking trigger. So, is murder evil? I mean, do we consider that to be evil? Or do we just consider that to be bad judgment? I don't know. That's a philosophical question that I'm not prepared to answer right now because I haven't thought about it enough. I've had probably too many of these to even consider. This is my third one. Two of them were doubles. So I've probably had too much to consider that thought. But that's a fun thought. That's a fun little thought experiment. What do we consider murder? Because we consider murder, there's degrees: first degree, second degree, third degree. Uh, uh, Felony murder, where you are engaged in the crime and somebody else actually kills them. You're driving the car and the person jumps out of the back seat, runs into the filling station, shoots the dude, takes the cash register money, runs back to the car and takes off. You were involved in that murder, so that's a felony murder. But we have people who vote for senators who think that taking 30% of the poorest Americans' income as a federal tax is fair. So, further impoverishing them and making it harder for them to buy literal food. We don't consider that to be murder. I mean, where does the line get drawn? Where does it cease to be evil and it start just become like ignorance? I don't know. I don't know where that line is. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, every major religion, I would agree, Bacon, that every major religion frowns on murder, but I don't think that every society frowns on murder because every society defines murder their own way. They define murder in different ways. Like, if you saw a dude raping your daughter and you beat the fucking piss out of him and he died because of the beating you laid down on him, every single society would say, that's cool. You did a good job, Dad. Good job. Even though that was the job of the state, law enforcement, courts, and the judicial system to hand down the punishment, hand down the sentence, and then for the state to carry out the execution, if that was how it was going to be. You've decided that that was an executable offense, even if that was supposed to be 7 years in prison, or 12 years in prison, or 20 years in prison, however many years in prison it was supposed to be. I mean, there's plenty of women in jail who killed their abusers. They murdered their husbands who were abusing them, and they went to jail for any amount of time. Not all societies. I mean, some societies frown on murder. Some societies frown on murder more than others. Some societies give it a pass. I think most people would say it's fairly reasonable to, defend yourself and shoot some fucker in the head who is beating the piss out of you. But we're not one of those societies. I mean, if we were one of those societies, we would take both him and her. We would put him in jail and protect her. But we're one of those societies that say we can't really do anything to him unless he kills her. And if she does anything to protect her life, then she's going to go to jail. So, yeah, that's a tricky question. Both of these statements are tricky statements to adjudicate. Murder is evil, says Christians, but not in self-defense. But sometimes it is in self-defense. Sometimes it's not in self-defense that they give it a pass. Sometimes it's, the definition of self-defense is when you start shit and suffer the consequences of your actions, and then you're defending yourself against the consequences of your actions. I mean, if I go and punch some big motherfucker and he starts wailing on me and I shoot him, I'm defending myself. Except I started the fight. So, and that's happened in Texas, where like a dude comes and says, "Hey, turn down your music." And the guy says, "No, fuck you." And he cranks up his music. And then the guy comes and shoots the dude. Or he comes and demands that he turns down his music, and the dude gets out of the car and then he shoots him. That's happened here in Houston. And it's, it's one of those gray areas where the line is not clear all the time. Why do I only have 5 fucking watchers? Whatever. I don't care. The Republican Party. It was. I hate it when they just name them outright, but you're not wrong. It is the evangelicals are they're very keen on the idea of murdering people for stealing their shit. I mean, it is what it is. There's a whole lot of God-fearing Christians that are like, yeah, you try to steal my truck, I'll shoot you in the face. Like, yeah, okay. Self-defense by definition is not murder, no matter what tool you're using. Sometimes though, I mean, if you're the one who starts the confrontation, self-defense is an excuse. Like I said, if I go and slap a bitch and he turns around and starts wailing on me and I shoot him, like that, the Trayvon Martin case. Homeboy jumps out of his car, literally starts the confrontation. Trayvon Martin jumps back at him. Struggle ensues. He shoots him. Dude gets off. He literally started the confrontation. He gets off. The eyes of the law. I mean, he was hit for other stuff later, but I think I'm going to enjoy watching these chats go back and forth. Never brought into that. It came to Americans using firearms, just an excuse to kill. Maybe, not always. Do see how some feel comfortable with a form of self-defense. Okay, so here's the thing. Though. If you have a hammer, I mean, guns are just tools. I mean, I've got a sword right here. This is a tool. It's not particularly sharp either. It's a pretty cool sword. Got it at a Renaissance festival. It's not particularly sharp. It's a blunt object. It's not particularly sharp. I could probably cut through a thing if I wanted to. I hack my way through something if I needed to. I like swords. I'm a big fan of swords. I have this one and I have others. I have a lot of daggers. Come on. I have a big broadsword in my garage. It's kind of rusted out. I probably ought to replate it, which would be a cool project to learn how to re-chrome a sword. But I have this one back here. Can you see that back there? I have that one back there. It's a Scottish claymore. I got that when I became an elder at my church to remind me of my position as a protector of the church. But I also said I have my dad's 38. I have 22. I have a 30-06. I have like 4 shotguns. I like guns. I don't have a problem. I'm extremely comfortable with firearms. And like a proper citizen, this is unarmed, or now currently because I just emptied it. But I do have a trigger lock. I do have this properly stored away from humans, where it can be hurt, where they can be hurt, where it can be damaged and used. He said as he reloads his gun and puts it away. I'm not afraid of firearms. I'm not afraid of weapons. I have plenty of them. I'm honest about them, though. Like, my sword's not going to fucking protect me. If some dickhead busts in and kicks open the door and shoots me, but also, I'm not under some delusion that that's likely to happen. Like, nobody's going to kick in my door and bust into my office and shoot me. Why the fuck would they? This isn't Mad Max. It's not some fucking lawless, like, a hellscape apocalypse, whatever. It's not going to happen. It's extremely unlikely to happen. If it happens, it's because I gave somebody a reason to do it. It's more likely to happen at the distillery than it is to happen here. And if it happened at the distillery, I'm fucked. They kick open the door. They've got their gun drawn, probably got their gun drawn, assuming they have a gun. What the fuck am I going to do? The presence of a sword or the presence of a gun or the presence of a bat or the presence of my dog isn't going to do anything. My dog rushes them, they're going to shoot the dog. That's it. Now I have a dead dog and a dude who clearly means business. So, I'm under no fucking delusions as to what it's going to do and how is it going to work. But, if I go out, if I put it on my body, if I carry it on my person when I go out, it's part of that honesty of carrying thing, that honesty of the tool. If I have a tool belt with a hammer and a bunch of nails, I'm literally telling people I am prepared to nail some nails into some boards. I have my hammer, I have my nails, I'm going to do some work. Right? You see a plumber with a toolkit and plumbing tools, you see a dude who's prepared to go plumbing. He has it on his truck. He has it on the van. It says, Jake's Plumbing. It says it right there. I'm prepared to do some plumbing shit. You see that phone number, you can call him up and say, hey, I need a hot water heater installed. Boom, you got a hot water heater installer ready to come. You know who to contact. That's the guy, right? Right. They got their tools. They're prepared to use them. There's a phone number you can contact them. They are clearly advertising who they are. If you're willing to use it, that's why you should carry it. If you're not willing to use it, you shouldn't carry it. If I'm not willing to use my hammer, could you imagine how stupid I would look if I'm walking around with a hammer and a hard hat and somebody says, hey, mister, can you come hammer these things in for me? And I'm like, no. This is just for show. Really? If you're walking around with the golf clubs and you come across a golf ball and somebody says, hey, why don't you hit that golf ball? You're like, no. This is all just for show. You got your little stupid golf hat with the little beanie and the puff on top. You're walking around. You're like, no. This is just for show. I'm not going to hit that golf ball. What are you, crazy? Really? You go up to a cop. He's got his badge and he's got his utility belt and he's got his gun and his billy club. And like the cop's walking by and you push a dude and you start a fight and the cop's like, oh, no. Boys. I can't break y'all up. All this shit's for show. If you're not willing to use it, you shouldn't carry it. Which is why my gun's in here and not in my car or not with me, because I'm worried that I might be willing to use it. I might. I could see myself doing it, which is exactly why I don't want to carry it with me. And I think you're right there, Sunflower, when you say that it's an excuse to kill. I don't know if it's an excuse to kill. It's an excuse to put themselves in a situation where they might use it. This is a heavy fucking show. But it's an excuse to put themselves in a situation where it's an excuse to bring trouble. It's an excuse to escalate a situation. You're looking to find a reason. Dude, if I've got a bottle of whiskey in my car, goddamn I'm looking for a reason to drink. I'm looking for some folks that I can drink with. I may not think about it, but if I leave the shop and I throw a bottle in the car, I'm going to a festival, I'm going to a tasting, I'm going somewhere. And I leave the store with a half a bottle of whiskey. I absolutely am thinking maybe where can I dump the rest of this whiskey? Who do I know? What am I doing? Where am I going for the rest of the night where I can dump the rest of this whiskey with some folks? What are we going to do? Yeah, it's part of the thought process. Absolutely. You got a truck? You got a van? If you've got a truck, you're not always thinking about stuff to throw in the truck, but you're more likely to use the truck for moving stuff than you are if you've got a little hatchback. Like, oh no, it's no problem. I've got a truck. Let's go. Oh yeah, just strap that thing up to the Strap that stump up to the bumper of the truck. Let's go. I'll yank that bitch out of the ground. You telling me you wouldn't do it? You telling me if you had a 4-wheel drive truck, you wouldn't go right on the beach every goddamn chance you got? I would. Why wouldn't you? If you had a 4-wheel drive, you had a Jeep, you telling me you wouldn't be all like, oh, traffic sucks, I'm going to just turn here. Jump off the road and go like right down the ditch? Why wouldn't you? You have a fucking Jeep. I never understood why Jeeps sat in traffic. Why would you sit in traffic? I had this one stupid bitch, uh, like heavy traffic, lane merging from this side, lane merging from this side. I let the first car in. I pulled in behind him. She was like, no, I'm going to get in behind that truck too. I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are? I just let that truck in. I'm not letting you in. You slot in behind me like a decent civilized person. And she was like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And she took off and went down the median of the road. I'm like, goddamn, she's my fucking hero. I would do that every time. Why wouldn't you? You're in a 4-wheel drive lifted Jeep. Why would you sit in traffic? Why? You're in a monster truck? You're in a monster truck. Why would you sit in traffic? Why wouldn't you just go over the top of all the car? I mean, yeah, property damage and all that shit, but you don't have to sit in traffic. You don't have to do that. Just jump off the road and go right through the mud and just, where we're going, we don't need roads. Just we're gone. Zoom. Roads are for bitches and suckers and Teslas. We're in a fucking lifted Jeep. I'm going wherever I want to go. You can't get that thing stuck. You can't get a Jeep stuck. It's a goddamn Jeep Wrangler. You're going up the side of a tree. You're going to pull eggs out of the eagle's nest. You're in a Jeep Wrangler, for God's sake. Yeah. I mean, in some cases, they're just looking for trouble. You put yourself in that position. In other cases, they're like legitimately a defensive position. But in some cases, yeah, they're straight up looking for trouble, and they put themselves in a position like one certain little bitch from Idaho. They're putting themselves in a position where they can cause trouble, and you look for trouble, trouble finds you. It has that way of doing things. If you cross state lines and pick up a gun to protect a car dealership that doesn't belong to you with a guy who you don't know, and you find some people who might be, looking dangerous, yeah, guess what? You're going to find some people who look dangerous because you're looking for it. But if you never left your house to begin with, you wouldn't have murdered 2 people and injured a third. I'm sorry, killed 2 people and injured a third. But who am I to cast stones? What? Excuse to kill. I see how some comfortable with that for myself. I think women should be equal to men. All right, this is going to be interesting. I think women should be equal to men. I'm not against equality. Okay. Mr. Jiggs is in the house. Cheers, Mr. Jiggs. Welcome. The best place to dump the whiskey is in my bill. One day in my life, I want to fire a full auto M60 for the express reason of cooking bacon on the barrel. Oh, like that commercial that fucking slug Ted Cruz did. Oh, that's the dumbest thing, though. That's like a black powder flavored bacon. That's not even good bacon. That's not even a good way to cook bacon. That bacon was mostly raw. You know how many rounds you have to fire off to cook the bacon? That would be so dumb. But do it. I will do it and record it. I want to see it. Without question. Do it. Record it. I want to see it. Who is this clean shaven? I know, Jigs. Like, this takes 20 years off. I shave my beard and I am suddenly 20, let's say 28, 34. Let's go with 34. It takes 15 to 20 years off. It's insane, isn't it? I kidnapped Old Humble and I'm going to go bang his wife. Tomorrow night, not tonight. Friday night. I've got shit to do tomorrow night. Okay, you idiots to entertain tomorrow night. Old Humble's son. Jesus Christ, y'all flatter me. I love you guys. I'm gonna break a rule. Usually, I don't get a second piece of ice, but it's only midnight. It's been 2 hours. Let me look at my analytics real quick to see if it's worth. Let me look at my analytics. Where are we at? 46 views for 12 and a half minutes each. 46 times 12.5 divided by 60. Oh, wow, we got almost 10 hours. Okay, well, I can wrap this up in like an hour. I'm going to go get a piece of ice. And I'm going to have 2 more drinks. And then we're going to wrap up the show. How's that sound? Like a good idea? That sounds like good, because I kind of got to pee, too. I really wish I was doing StreamYard tonight. Next week we'll be doing StreamYard. Well, I'll talk about next week's show in a minute. Let me, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to do a word from our sponsor, which is me. And then I'll be right back. We'll do that. We'll do that. Hold tight. I will be right back.
Is your bar looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
What are we going to do? It's all dark. Oh, no. It's hot in this room. Okay, so we have weird air conditioning in our house. This room that I'm in right now gets remarkably hot and uncomfortable. But it's really cozy at night. Like during the day, it's not too unbearable, but in the night, it's probably 5 degrees warmer in here than it is in the rest of the house. Because it's like there's no air outflow. It just all dumps in here. Goodness. Anyway, so I'm drinking tonight Old Humble Distilling Company's Boomtown Bourbon. The legendary Boomtown Bourbon. Delicious, nutritious. I need to get the ad twins to make me an ad for Boomtown Bourbon. Ooh. And my ice is not fancy ice. It's just a regular cube. Cloudy as shit. I'm not fancy. Look at that. It's a double shot without question, but I'm not fancy with the ice. It's just a regular old block of ice. Not worried about that because, and I've said before and I'll say again, ice is the least important part of your drink. If people are looking at your drink and going, oh wow, the ice is the best part, you've got shitty whiskey. You make bad cocktails. You are a bad person. You should be embarrassed and ashamed. That is important. And you know, I've also said before, and I'll say again, my whiskey does not require ice. I just like it cool and on the rocks. I like it with ice. And the wrong way to drink whiskey is any which way you don't like it, or any hole other than your mouth. The right way to drink whiskey, the only right way to drink whiskey is to pour it right here, right here. This is the right way to drink whiskey. If you've got a funnel in your ear, or you're pouring it up your nose, or in any other orifice, that's the wrong way to drink whiskey. I will die on that hill without question. Old Humble Sons. Best my nephew. I mean, come on. What happened to Restream? Restream will be returning next week. Okay, let me tell you about next week's show. Oh, I'm so fucking excited about next week's show. So next week we have a adult performer who goes by the screen name of Hey Guido. 2 Y's, HEYYGUIDO. You can find her on Twitter, OnlyFans, Instagram, probably, I don't know if it's on TikTok or not. TikTok? Let me look. Hey, GUIDO. Is she on TikTok? I don't know. About to find out. Yeah, she's on Hey Guido Says. Is that her? So we're going to have Hey Guido joining me on the show next week via Restream. That individual right there should be joining me via Restream next week to talk about AI, deep fakes, and basically artificial companions and how that will affect the online performance industry. Look at me dancing around the words. And she's a sex worker. I think she falls into the sex worker category. I mean, I don't want to like, well, yeah, I mean, she falls into the sex worker category, but it's the question of how does AI and deep fakes and chatbots and all that shit affect that industry and how it affects it going forward. I'll have that show up and running next week, probably by the end of the day tomorrow. Restream will be back next Wednesday with her as my interviewee. It'll be back on tomorrow night with our game night. We're not going to do a direct, we're not going to do trivia tomorrow night. Tomorrow night will probably be, I don't know what the game will be, but we're going to have a game night tomorrow night. We'll have Restream. We're going to be playing games. It's going to be fun. I've got all day to figure it out. And that's what I'm going to work on tomorrow. To Rye Night for you started with Pikesville and ended with Michener's Rye. Ooh, not bad. Not bad at all. Very strong choices there, Jigs. But yeah, I'm super duper excited about it. Restream will be joining the chat tomorrow night and next Wednesday night for sure, and then Thursday night next week. So we're gonna have 2 Restreams next week. I'm working on. I'm gonna go ahead and get the subscription to Restream, and I'm working on the whole like presentation package with Restream with my files and videos and all the shit, intro page, outro page, all the whole production package, and getting this all set up and nice and pretty, similar to what I've got here with OBS, but it's just gonna be more interactive, and I think I'll probably start relying on Restream more for more shows. I'll probably start doing like 3 shows a week. Do the open forum show on like Sunday, and then do Wednesday and Thursday with the interviews on Wednesday and the game night on Thursday. But when I don't have an interview, I'll probably just do this with OBS. When I don't have an interview, when I don't have somebody coming in to join me, I'll probably just do this with the chat. Because one of the really cool things with the interview is I can have the interview, somebody the expert talking with me, as opposed to me just talking about the research that I've done. The actual person and me interviewing the person and bouncing questions off them. Of course, it's going to be their opinion. I don't know how well versed or deeply involved they are with necessarily the finger on the industry, but it's another person's philosophical point of view, and I'm counting on the fact that they're not complete and total idiots. We'll be talking about their book or their performance or their art or whatever and what they think the future of the industry holds. And I'll bounce my ideas off of them and they should give me their ideas and we'll kind of, hash it out and figure it out. The same way I did it way back when I was doing StreamYard shit. And then I'll open it up with an open forum. If they're willing to hang out and answer questions, and they can hang out and answer questions. If they don't have time to mess with that shit, with the dumb questions from you ding dongs, then I'll hang around and answer the dumb questions from you ding dongs, and it's fine. It works out great for everybody. But I think that's going to be a fun show. It's the first time I've done an interview. Man, when I interviewed Slade and all those people last week, it was so much fun talking to these people and what they do and their perspective on the universe and their perspective on their craft and and what they do and how they do and why they do and all that shit. It was so much fun talking to those guys. So I want to do it some more. So I've reached out to 3 or 4 different people now to get these to entertain some topics. I've got Jeff Gwynn and Hey Guido and another. I talked to a lawyer. I called a lawyer's office to talk to them about coming to do a show about money laundering, which I think is a fun topic, a fascinating fucking topic. It would have been really cool if I'd have been able to talk to somebody from the Texas Militia about this topic. But this was actually the second of 3 topics that I entertained for the night. The first one was going to be all the isms, like I talked before, communism, fascism, capitalism, and socialism, and comparing and contrasting the economic and political systems that are associated with all those guys. Like, why is fascism and communism so diametrically opposed to each other? They both tend towards totalitarian regimes, but they both are very different economic systems that are in complete and total contrast to each other. And you don't go from one to the other. There's intermediate steps to go from one to the other. And then capitalism and socialism are a lot closer than you think. And capitalism and fascism are a lot more related than you think. And socialism and communism are a lot more related than you think. But capitalism and socialism are kind of interrelated. Capitalism and socialism are much more compatible than fascism and communism. And fascism and communism are just extreme forms of the other two. But that's a whole nother discussion to be had for a whole nother week. And I would really love to get a poli-sci professor to come and talk about that shit. But that's for another night. That's for another week. I'll worry about that another. The other topic that I wanted to entertain tonight was Woodstock 99. What happened at Woodstock 99, kind of a recap of what happened at Woodstock, and then the philosophical underpinnings of Gen X and Gen Y looking at being exploited for 3 fucking days and saying, you know what, we're going to burn this whole fucking place down. And what that possibly means for the political landscape of the next 15 to 20 years as boomers start to get eclipsed by Gen X and Gen Y. And we start saying, you know what, we're tired of being exploited. Let's burn the whole motherfucking place down. It's going to be a fun next couple of decades, boys and girls. It's going to be a fun next couple of decades. Anyway, what? Pikesville, it broke up with him. Sad it's not him, it's her. What? Oh, what happened to What happened to Restream? It broke up with him. Okay. All right, I get it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sometimes, Bacon, you throw out the thinkers. You throw out the ones that people have to look at and read and think and like ponder and consider. Shame on you. All right. The page is working now. Get back to where we were. Y'all, where is everything? Jesus. And this is why I like Restream better than what I'm doing right now, because this doesn't happen with Restream. All right. There we are. There we are. All right. Mr. Jiggs is there. Reminds me, Old Humble, do you send samples or 375s, or is everything 750? And do you accept PayPal donations? I really want to try your products. Mr. Jiggs, that is a yes all the way around. So I didn't send out any samples of this current batch because we had so few left of this current batch. Right now I have about a case and change at the distillery that's for public consumption. And I didn't put anything in sample bottles, the little 50-liter sample bottles or the pint sample bottles. I didn't put anything in those bottles from this batch because this batch was just boom. People wanted, the distributor wanted everything I had left. We literally sold every bottle we had this month. Over the course of 2 weekends. I mean, the last time we released our bourbon, it sold out. We sold 5 cases in the course of 3 weeks, basically. We sold 5 cases this weekend of this batch. So, and the rest of it got picked up by the distributor and was gone. So I didn't send out a bunch of samples, but I will be sending out samples. I do want to entertain samples, and we can take donations. Shoot me an email, info at, let me drop the link. Let me drop the email there, info at distilling.com. Info at Old Humble Distilling, oldhumbledistilling.com. I know Ike has sent me a message from Seriously Podcast. We've made arrangements for private purchase of bottles for individuals around the country. I am willing to do it without question. The challenge is that the distillery can't do it. I have to do it personally, which means I have to go to a store, buy the bottle, put it in a box, package it up, and ship it out. But I don't mind doing it. I mean, it's the shipping cost is $10. We can package up the samples and ship it out, or I'll just buy you a fucking bottle and ship it out. No big deal. So there you go. Well, if the ice isn't fancy, then you expect to see the pinky up at the very least. I don't do fancy, dude. I'm a campfire, fucking bonfire, campfire, chilling by the trailer kind of whiskey drinking sumbitch. That's what I do. It's best with friends. There really is. Pineapple whiskey sour. That's a good idea. Because there is such a thing as pineapple sweet and sour. A pineapple whiskey sour would be an interesting drink. Because pineapple doesn't taste half bad. Let me see a pineapple whiskey cocktail. Let me see here. Pineapple whiskey cocktail. Oops. Pineapple whiskey cocktail. Whiskey and pineapple juice. Recipe from George Dickel. George Dickel. The pineapple whiskey sour. There it is. Some bitch. 6 pages of exposition. Then we've got 4-ounce pineapple juice, 1/2 ounce lemon juice, 1 ounce whiskey. That is not a lot of whiskey. But yeah, I'll do a video on a pineapple whiskey sour. I like pineapple juice. Pineapple's a good mixer. I like pineapple juice. It's allowable. It is allowable. The church did not give me a firearm. No, churches do not tend to give people firearms. I bought a sword when I became an elder of my former church as a symbol to remind me of what my job was as an elder of the church. That is, the church didn't do it. I did it. It was my gift to me as a celebration and a trophy. I'm a firm believer in trophies, even as you're an adult. Kids get trophies all the fucking time. Kids get trophies for fucking showing up to practice and making it through the season. And they're like, "Oh, you did so good, Johnny. Here's their fucking trophy." And I don't have any problem with participation trophies. You stuck it through an entire season. You should get some kind of recognition, whether it's a ribbon, probably a ribbon or a medal or a fucking trophy. I mean, we don't keep the trophies. We're like, "Oh, that's cool, great," and we throw it away. Whatever. I'd rather have like a gift card to Barnes and Noble or Chuck E. Cheese or whatever kids should get. Not necessarily a trophy. I mean, you get the hat, maybe a pin to put on your hat and say congratulations. 2015 baseball season, whatever. Those trophies are meaningless. We don't keep them. We don't keep our fucking little league. 1997. What would it have been? 1983 Little League trophy. I don't even remember if I got them. I think the first trophy I got was 86 when we actually won the championship that year. It's a myth that people get participation trophies all their life. I know my kids got participation trophies and like, oh, that's cute. They don't give a shit. We don't have them anymore. I don't know what happened to them. But grown-ups should fucking buy themselves fucking trophies. Get yourself a goddamn belt buckle. Buy a hat. Buy some sunglasses. Get a goddamn sword confirming that you did a thing. You achieved a thing. Your peers said that you're responsible enough to be an elder of the whole goddamn church. You won a trivia game. I mean, goddamn. Get yourself a fucking trophy. Buy the stuff. Do the thing. Celebrate your accomplishments. No matter how minor it is. You walked 5 miles? Get a fucking medal. Go to the Krispy Kreme and buy yourself a donut and say, my celebration donut. Eat it. Absolutely. When I ran a marathon, you know what I did? I ate this many pancakes. We went to Denny's and I ate this many pancakes. And people ask me, how do you eat that many pancakes after you've just run a marathon? I said, with 2 fucking forks like this. I ate the shit out of that plate. Oh my God, it was so good. The best pancakes I had ever had. I just ran 26.2 miles. Goddamn right I ate some pancakes. I ate all of the pancakes. This many of them. Not even a small stack. It was like 3 small stacks. I ate all the pancakes. And I told my waitress, I'm like, I just ran a marathon. I want all the pancakes. She's like, what, like 6? I'm like, that's a good start. Come on, baby. And I don't know. That was like 9, I think. I ate mine and my wife's. I ate all the pancakes. I ate all the fucking pancakes. I was so hungry. So hungry. Oh my God. You run for 5 hours? Guess what? You're hungry. Really hungry. I would love to run another marathon. God damn. I wish I could get myself in shape to do that. I really do. I don't know if my body could take it. The only way to know is to do it though, right? You get out there and you walk a mile, then you walk a mile, then you walk another, and you walk another, then you run one, then you walk a couple, then you run another, then you walk a few, and you run a few. The next thing you know, you're running like 6 at a time, and then you run 6 and you run 7. If you can run 7, you can probably push it to another 8. Maybe walk an 8th mile, then run 6 and run a 7th, then walk an 8th and walk a 9th. Then you run 6 and you run a 7th and you run an 8th. You're like, oh wow, I can run an 8th mile. And then you walk the 9th, and you walk the 10th, and then you come back and you run the 7th and 8th and 9th. And you walk the 10th and 12th. And then you're like, this is good. And you run 10 miles and you walk a couple miles to cool down. And you do that for a few weeks, and then there's the marathon. And you're like, well, fuck it. If I can run 12, I can run another 12. And then you only have like 3 miles left. Yeah, and that's how you run a marathon. It's easy. It really is. It's that easy. It takes 6 months to do it, but you can go couch to marathon in 6 to 8 months if you put your mind to it. I, however, really, really enjoy chocolate. So, and whiskey. So it's tough. It's really tough. But yeah, fucking buy yourself a trophy. Buy yourself trophies, whether it's hats or pins or watches. Get a watch. Watches are great trophies. Oh my God, they're fantastic trophies. A good razor, a belt buckle, a hat. These dumb things are like $25 at the Renaissance Fair, $30. Go to Etsy and get yourself a sword. Hang them on the wall. Get a nice knife and hang it on the wall. Get yourself a bottle of fucking whiskey as your trophy. That's a great trophy to be had. My lamp isn't on. It's supposed to be on, lamp. My weed lamp isn't on. Why isn't my weed lamp on? Y'all can't see my weed lamp. Let me move this over. There's my weed lamp. It should be on right now. It's not, but it should be. But yeah, buy yourself a trophy. Celebrate your stupid victories, man. Celebrate them. We don't get to celebrate our victories as grown-ups. Celebrate your dumb victories. You filed your TPS reports on time for a whole week? Get that bottle of scotch. You deserve it. You earned it. Goddamn right you earned it. So anyway. I should do a short on that. I should do a whole fucking video on that. Like, buy yourself your fucking trophy, man. You're a goddamn grown-up. Nobody else is going to give you a trophy. Go get your trophy. You earned it. You earned it. Go get that belt buckle. Go get that hat. Go get that pair of jeans. Go get that vest. Go get that jacket. Get the stamp. Get the fucking the medallions. Get the patches for your jacket. Do it. Do it. High school shouldn't be the last time you get a patch for your jacket. You should have your own sash where you buy your own embroidered patches that you put on your sash. Are you telling me Gaddafi has more medals than you? What the fuck did Gaddafi do that was better than you? He was a goddamn dictator. He fucked up his country, man. You reorganized the accounts payable department. You reorganized the entire filing system for your accounts payable department to make it more convenient and easier to pull files for clients. Are you telling me that's not an accomplishment that you deserve a trophy for? Go buy yourself the trophy. Get yourself the plate that says accomplished, a fucking filing thing, or whatever you want to call it. Get yourself your trophy. Even if it's just the little chick with the wings and the goddamn whatever torch in the air. Get yourself your trophy. You deserve it. You absolutely 100% deserve it because you did a thing. 4 consecutive oil changes on time? Are you kidding me? That's hard to do. Congratulations. Here's your trophy, ma'am. You went on a 5,000-mile road trip last summer? I mean, the memories are fucking trophies themselves, but you want a memento for that. Get yourself a goddamn belt buckle. Do it. Do it. You deserve it. Nobody's going to fucking celebrate your victories. You should celebrate your goddamn victories. Go out there and hype yourself. Nobody else is going to hype you for you. Be your own hype man until somebody else steps up and does it for you. I guarantee I'm hyping Mrs. Old Humble Guy all the fucking time. Oh my God, she's amazing. And she hypes me up right back. We're our best fucking crowd cheering crew. She thinks I'm full of shit when I'm like, oh, honey, are you kidding me? You totally talked that little kid out of pulling his finger out of his nose. She's a teacher. She does shit like that all the time. And she's like, sweetheart, you filled that bottle perfectly. Good job. High five. Pow. She didn't do that. It's more like, well, I don't even want to talk about what she cheers me on for. It's dirty. It would embarrass her. Anyway, buy yourself your trophy. Seriously. 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 Buy yourself the trophy. Whatever trophy. You want friends to come over to your house and you to point over there and say, see that lamp? I bought that lamp as a celebration for collating the yellow files of the payroll department. Whatever. Whatever dumb shit you did. Celebrate your victory. Celebrate your fucking victory. Celebrate them. Celebrate them. You deserve it. You fucking deserve it. Don't make me come over to your house and hype you up, because I will do it. Don't make me do it. I will come over there and I will do it and I will embarrass the shit out of you because I will not do it in your house. I'm going to do it in your office. I'm going to do it at the country club. I'm going to do it at the Starbucks. I'm going to do it wherever you go, and you're not going to want me to do it there because I'm going to open the door and I'm going to say, now entering the king of the neighborhood's Property Rights Association, the one man who stood up to the HOA and told them, we don't need no fucking forms for fences that you told us to replace. I'm going to be that guy at the McDonald's announcing your entry. And you're going to be all like, oh my God, who the fuck is this dude? And I'll be like, hey, I'm the Old Humble Guy. You had my whiskey yet? Buy yourself the trophy. Buy yourself the belt buckle. Celebrate your victories. You deserve it, bitch. You deserve it. You a bad bitch. You a bad bitch. You pay your bills. You a bad bitch. You got your own car. You bad bitch. Anyway. I'm not going to watch that video. There's also this gym. Clicks. I regret the immediate. Actually, I don't. Okay, now I got to see what it is. God damn it. What do we got? I need to see. Show me what we got. What do we got? I'm looking at the last one that you posted. What was it? The one right before this. I'm looking at this one, I think. Oh, Jesus. What am I getting myself into? It's going to take a minute to load. That's fine. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry too closely about it. We'll see what it is in a minute. The best smartass. Ingredients. Yeah. Yeah. A pineapple whiskey sour actually looks really good, and I think I can get some pineapple juice. We might do that. I don't know if I'll do it for the next episode, but I might do it tomorrow night for game night. I might make whiskey sours for maybe. I may do the cocktail video tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on the scheduling. I don't know. An ascot isn't required when I drink whiskey. Wait, are you talking about Fred Minnick? Is that what we're looking at? Fred Minnick is the ascot guy? What the fuck? All right, so that's wrong. All right, I'm sure I'll see it in a minute. No big deal. Twitter and stuff. If a church isn't giving you a firearm or sword, you're in the wrong church. Actually, Mr. Jiggs, we've had an active discussion about locking the doors to our church during services in order to protect ourselves from active shooters. That is a discussion we've had in session of my church. Locking the doors so that. All right, so the logic is, in order to protect the church, you lock the exterior doors to your church. And if people show up late to services, you have somebody at the doors prepared to open the doors for people who show up late. And me, on session, I asked the question, how do we know the person showing up late is a person showing up late who's just late? Because me and my family show up late all the time. Or people who show up late who's just like ready to cause trouble. How do you know? How do you know you're the person at the door? You're the elder at the door. How do you know it's a person who is coming to church late or a person who's coming to shoot up the church? How do you know? Which one is it? Like, give me the criteria. Like, what is your decision matrix? What do you know? They're like running up to the like AK-47s waving in the air. That's not what a shooter looks like. A shooter looks like me. I'm late. I'm late for church. A shooter looks like me. I've had a shitty day. I'm a member of this church. I've had a shitty fucking week. That pastor has pissed me off. That's what an active shooter at a church looks like. Are you going to shut the door to me? Or are you going to open the door to me? Because you open the door to me, you're the first one to get shot. And then I'm going in and I'm taking out as many people as I can. Because I've had a shitty week and I'm done. And for whatever reason, I have a beef with my church. That's what it looks like. And my fellow session members were stunned, silent. They were like, holy shit. I don't know how much of it was like, you're a fucked up motherfucker. And how much of it was, our preconceived notions are wrong. But I'm what an active shooter looks like. I am what church shooters look like. So I live in a suburban part of Houston. And are you going to shut the doors to people who look like me? We're the people who fucking run your church. Us and our wives. Are you kidding me? Really? So yeah, we've had these active discussions. Like, I kid you not, this is an active discussion on your church board. If you're a member of a church, this is an active discussion that has happened at your session meetings that happen once a month. If it's a Presbyterian church, it's probably the third Sunday or the second Sunday. Most Presbyterian churches do second or third Sundays, not the first or fourth. Most. It's a thing. I don't know why it's a thing, but it's a thing. They don't do it the first Sunday. They don't do it the last Sunday. It's usually the second or third. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't know why. It just is. There are certain universalities to Presbyterian churches. We have committees to define membership of committees. We have committees to discuss questions that should be presented to committees. We have committees to discuss whether or not committees should exist. I mean, committees, we love committees. Committees about committees about committees. We sit in the same location in the pews every week. We have assigned seats, even though we don't have assigned seats. We have trouble moving. we do things in a peculiar way. And one of those peculiar ways is session meetings are the second or third week of every month. That's how it works. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but that's how we are. Killed a bottle of Dickel. Took 10 years, but I did it. It should never take that long to kill a good bottle of whiskey. A good bottle of whiskey shouldn't last more than a month. I firmly believe that. Plenty for me. And bacon and garnish with a bacon strip. Sounds like exercise. I'm allergic. I don't know what that was. Seriously, but Ike's in the house. Cheers, Ike. Forget buying a sword. I'm just gonna make the. Well, that's right. You're a fucking blacksmith. You can make your own goddamn sword. You can build your own fucking trophies. That's right. But me, I can't build trophies. I buy my trophies. This isn't even a fucking. This isn't even a particularly cool. I mean, it's just it's got a little etching here. I don't know if y'all can see that. A little etch. It's just a standard run of the mill Renaissance Festival sword. I picked it up at the Ren Fair. I saw it. I liked it. I thought it was really pretty. I wanted it. I convinced my wife to let me buy it. It's $40, $35 sword. It's got a metal handle. See, metal handle. I should wrap this in leather, but it's. I mean, it's a decorative sword. It's not like. And my claymore is a decorative sword too. I should show that off a little bit. I'm going to show my claymore off in just a second. Stay. Give me 1 second. Calm down. Yeah. This one, I really love this sword. This is a beautiful sword. It really is. It really is. Tarnishes a little bit. I need to clean it. Clean the tarnish off the hilt here. But it is a beautiful sword. I love this sword. Absolutely love it. I love that sound of it coming out of the sheath because it's a metal sheath. This one's a leather sheath. This is a metal sheath. I love this sword. I love the hilt, how it covers my hand. I love the palm. It's just a beautiful. I mean, it's not. I bought it off Etsy. It's not a. There's nothing like remarkable about the sword. It's just a typical run-of-the-mill decorative claymore style sword. It's got a few nicks and stuff in the blade, but I absolutely love swords. I love them. I love knives. I love swords. I love everything about them. I have a dagger that's over there. I used to collect machetes, decorative machetes, that I would then sharpen into useful machetes. But Yeah, I love this. This is one of my favorite decorative pieces that I've owned my entire life. I thoroughly, yeah. This is a beauty. This is a beauty. The sheath is metal. The sheath is metal and it's shiny as hell. It's pretty. It's got a little bit of tarnish on it for my fingerprints when I've grabbed it with my hands, but for the most part, this is just an absolutely immaculate decorative piece. Absolutely immaculate, and it looks fantastic when I actually have it on my belt. It looks fantastic. It really does. It really does. And yeah, the reason why I bought it again when I became elder of the church, I was like, I need something to remind myself of my duty and my job as an elder, and I got that pretty little thing to hang over my. I used to have it in my old office. I had it up on the wall. I haven't hung it on the wall. I need to, but that's where I used to have it hanging on the wall in my old office. But the old-fashioned bacon bourbon. Ooh, that's another one. That's another good one. Old-fashioned bacon, because I really like bacon. Because I am a human being. And bacon, old-fashioned. See, so an old-fashioned is sugar, water, and bitters. That's an old-fashioned. Sugar, water, and bitters. And if you replace the bitters with bacon, you're making yourself a really good old-fashioned. Because the bitters is just flavored alcohol that you're dashing onto the thing. You know, you've got your cherries, you've got a little bit of cherry juice, you've got your sugar, you've got your water, and then the flavor from the bitters is what finishes the old fashioned. And bourbon and bacon go together really well because the bacon is by itself a salty, meaty, um, crispy kind of flavor. But if you douse it in bourbon and cook it, oh, it gives it a whole nother aspect. Those things go together great. They're really delicious. Really delicious. Um, Bacon maple ale, that is another one that's absolutely fucking delicious. Would I drink God damn it, sunflowers. Making me look up shit. The stuff is not translating very well. Let me see what it shows. I don't know what that is. I have to go see what it is. What is it? Fucking Brussels sprouts drink or some shit? No, I won't drink a Brussels sprouts drink. I know what I'm commissioned from you when I can now. Bacon salt and fat components pair well with dry sparkling wines. That is a fact. Fruity wines, all the stuff. Zinfandel. You real Zinfandel. Also, the hell did you get that info? um, yeah, she has very good web foo bacon. She can pull shit out of all of the internets. And it tends to be fairly reliable, I'll add. And it's not always. Bacon, okay, let's get this on screen. Cambot. Add window capture. Where's Chrome? This one, please. Thank you. Oops, too big. What the fuck? Business. Oh, there it is. Okay. We're going to put this right here. And I'm going to scroll down. Bacon, egg, and whiskey. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. Bacon, egg, and whiskey. It is a sour and savory intermediate cocktail, strength of 3 out of 5. Step 1, add all ingredients except for the garnish to the straight. Well, what are the fucking ingredients? The whiskey sour is tried and true cocktail recipe. Yeah, thank you. Yes. What are the ingredients? They don't have the ingredients. Oh, here they are. Oops. Ingredients are 2 ounces of bacon whiskey. That must be bacon infused whiskey, so you got to prepare it a week in advance with a mason jar and whiskey and bacon. Half ounce fresh orange juice, quarter ounce lemon juice. All right, this is already more ingredients than I'm comfortable with. Honey syrup. I don't like more than 3 ingredients. We got orange juice, lemon juice, syrup, egg whites, orange bitters, orange twist. All right, so pick one, orange juice or lemon juice. I'm not going to do both. Syrup I can go with, but we're talking like sugar and, like I said, old fashioned to sugar, water, flavor. Done. Um, so this is a bacon infused whiskey. Pick a juice, one or the other. Syrup would be sugar water, fine. Throw in the egg whites, fine. That's probably what, 1 egg, 3/4 of an ounce. That's probably 1 egg. Throw in the ingredients into a shaker. Crack the tin and add ice. Shake again for at least a minute, okay? And then strain into a rocks glass and garnish with an orange twist and pieces of candied bacon. This is a cocktail. All right, so here's the problem I have with this cocktail. This is a cocktail that you have to decide you're going to make days in advance. We'll do that. This is a cocktail that you have to decide you're going to make several days in advance of actually serving a cocktail. And that is anathema to how I like to make cocktails. Because, for me, it's like, hey, you want to come over? Have a drink. Let's have a drink. I have my go-to cocktail set. I have my tonic, gin, lime, done. I have my tequila, sweet and sour, triple sec, done. I've got my mixes like ready. You want to have a drink? Cool. I go into the kitchen and I make you a drink. I don't ask you what you want to have. I tell you what you're going to have. Here's your drink. Hey, do you like tequila? No, I don't really like tequila. That's all right. I got a gin drink. Here you go. I got some whiskey. It's cool. Whatever. This, 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 this here. This is something you've got to plan ahead by several days at least to make the whiskey bacon or the bacon whiskey and the candied whiskey or the candied bacon. You've got to plan this shit ahead for a couple of days at least, probably a week. So this is a dinner party. This is a dinner party cocktail. I don't have any problem with it. It sounds delicious. I kid you not. It sounds absolutely fucking delicious. The only issue I have is the planning ahead shit. Because you're like, okay, we're going to do this thing. I'm going to infuse my whiskey. It's Sunday. I need to infuse my whiskey today. I have my mason jars. You run out of these whiskey. You will run out of this cocktail. That's the problem. Unless you do a whole bottle of whiskey and a whole fucking double mason jar of whiskey with your bacon cocktail, whatever shit, all prepped up, you're going to run out of this whiskey. You're not going to make enough. They're going to want 2 or 3 of these. You've got to make like a quadruple batch of this shit. You're going to run out of this cocktail. If you have your friends over, y'all are all drinking. You have what, 3 or 4 people over? You need 4 bottles of whiskey? You need to make all of this shit? 2 bottles of whiskey. You need to make all of this shit the Sunday before everybody shows up for the Super Bowl? Are you kidding? I ain't got time for that shit. I mean, it sounds like a cool idea. It sounds like a cool drink, but it's just like, in practice, it's like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to drink? Oh, no, we'll just have regular old fashions. Fuck it. I like it. It sounds good. It really does. It sounds like a great drink. With the lemon and orange juice and bacon juice and all that shit. It sounds like a great fucking drink, but it sounds like a lot of fucking work is what it sounds like. And I'm not down with that. I'm down with the leisure drink. If you want to go have a cocktail that takes work, go to a bar, pay a bartender. I don't want to be that bartender that you're getting work drinks for free. Screw that. I mean, pour. There's your drink. Enjoy it. That's it. That's as much work as I'm willing to do. And that's just me. There's plenty of people, like my brother, my older brother. He loves doing the fancy cocktails that have like the coffee beans and cranberries and all kinds of weird shit that goes in them. They're cool cocktails. They're great cocktails. I love them. They taste great. They're fantastic. Great presentation, great flavor, great taste, all that stuff. And it's a one-time deal. We're gonna have these, and we're gonna go to the play, and we're gonna go see whoever do the thing, and then we're gonna have a beer at the bar, and then we're gonna wrap it up and head home. And we're gonna have one more of these before we're done. All right, cool. So we get two really cool, like fancy fucking cocktails and shit like that. And then after that, we're just drinking straight out of the bottle with a straw. Just we're done. We're done. We're not fancy at that point. We're just literally taking the bottle, they're just tipping it back. Block. We're done. At that point, glasses are for the civilized folk. We're finished being civilized. The shoes come off, the pants go off. We're just drinking like men, like absolute men. When his wife goes to bed, it's just us. We're like, who's gonna stop us? I'm kidding. We keep the pants on. Shirts come off though. Best wine for me with pork is Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir. Okay. Samantha P's in that. Samantha P. Oh my God, that's a new name. I love you, Samantha P. Welcome to the party. Good morning. Wait, have I seen Samantha P before? I'm gonna say no. And welcome to the party. Glad to have you. How far behind am I in chat? 12:30. 12. I'm 20 minutes behind in chat. Sorry about that. Sorry about being 20 minutes behind in chat. Welcome to the party, Samantha P. Always love to see new visitors drive by. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, as it says right below. Do all the things that YouTubers are supposed to tell you to do. Notification bell, like, subscribe. Put your left foot in, take your left foot out. Put your left foot in, shake it all out. And then do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around, because that's what it's all about. Anyway, for vodka lovers, there's a bacon flavored vodka. That is disgusting. Vodka lovers are just anyway. Better chase getting struck by lightning. What? Numerically, cool. Be careful with your sharp objects. Hey, welcome back, Liquor Camp, and have a great night, Liquor Camp. It was great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Wait. Oh, you're probably already gone. What part of Ohio are you in? I'm curious. If you're around still, let me know down in comments below. Anyway, because we're going to be up in Wapak, Cridersville in the summer. If you're anywhere near Wapakoneta, Lima, Cridersville, Columbus, Cincinnati, or that line that goes from Cincinnati up to Cridersville, let me know, because I'll swing by and say hi. We'll share a drink. You can meet the crew. I'll meet your crew, and we can do a thing. It'd be fun. We're gonna probably be there for like 3 or 4 days anyway, so we'll do a thing. Oh shit! I'll shoot you an email. Anyway, God doesn't approve of firearms in church. I don't know about that. Do you fence? Do I fence? No. I did briefly in college. I did briefly in college play around with Olympic fencing, but I did not ever learn how to do it well. Olympic fencing and non-Olympic fencing, through an intramural organization and through an extracurricular non UIL intramural sponsored organization, intercollegiate rather organization. It was a Society for Creative Anachronisms, SCA. I briefly fenced with those guys. I borrowed an epee, briefly fenced. I can do a little, but I'm not. No, I don't know how. I can sword fight like a brute, but I can't like sword fight like a gentleman. If that makes any sense. Um, 2 ounce bourbon. Yeah, we did that. Go away. Bye. Melted the smokier the better. Yeah, bacon bourbon sounds like a thing. Anyway, all right, guys, this has been fun. And I feel like we should probably move towards closing it down. 61 views for 15 minutes, 14 and a half minutes. 61 times 14.5 divided by 60. This has been 15 hours. This has been a good show. It's been a good show. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you people coming in and interacting and talking with me. It's been a fun show. And next week, we're going to have porn. I don't want to oversell it. I mean, she's a cool chick. She is a thoughtful individual. She's a fun person to interact with. I've talked with her a little bit through Twitter Messenger. She's a bona fide like business lady. And I've known several people. I know several people with OnlyFans accounts. It was a weird circumstance in 2020, 2021, where it was like people were cleared out of the offices and they had all the time in the world. And a lot of people made OnlyFans accounts who were like secretaries and, the lawyer, the corporate lawyer who worked with you, and you're like going back to the office and it's like Sally has her OnlyFans account. You stumble across it because you did OnlyFans for a few months in 2020 during the pandemic, and you're like you know, at the water cooler or coffee maker or whatever, and you're like, so how'd you spend the pandemic? And she's like, oh, made a little bit of money. You're like, yeah, I saw your pussy. I mean, how is that normal when you're like in an accounting office, right? That's got to be weird. It's got to be some kind of weird. But since then, a lot of those folks have dropped off. A lot of them have discovered that this is a new line of work, and they've been able to buy their own house and buy their property and do all their shit, whatever. It's going to be a fun conversation. I've got a lot of questions. I've got a lot of things I want to talk to her about. I'm hoping that she's going to be open and interactive and forthcoming with questions, with answers. She's giving me an hour. I'm going to fill it with as much as I possibly can to make sure it's interesting for you guys. And then we're going to open the forum, and we're going to, I'm going to kick the link over there and give you guys a chance to talk, if not with her, at least with me, about her and about everything we talked about. I mean, it's YouTube, so you're not going to see her bits, obviously. So this is a brain thing, not a body thing. So come and join me. It's going to be a fun party. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it because I've got all the fucking questions. All the questions. I'm a middle-aged old man who hasn't been with another person for 22 years. So it's not going to be a sex conversation. It's going to be a business conversation. I'm down. I want to find out all the shit that she has to deal with, and promotions and how you promote the thing, how you're dealing with the thing, how deep fakes and how AI and chatbots and all this other shit's affecting the industry, how it's going to affect the industry, how she thinks it might affect the industry. I've got my ideas. I want to find out her ideas. I'm going to keep my ideas to myself until next week. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I thoroughly enjoy talking to interesting people, and she seems like an interesting person. I've had people on the show who were demonstrably not interesting, even hostile. And that was a weird, that was a weird fucking interview when she was just hostile the whole goddamn thing. And that was a weird interview. I don't know if that show's still available. It might have been made private, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the next several weeks because I'm hoping that we can have. I'm looking forward to several interviewees coming in on Wednesday nights. So it's not just me jabbering like a dumbass. It's me jabbering like a dumbass with another person. Because that makes it much more fun. So that said, tomorrow night, game night. I'm gonna go with Sunday probably. Open forum happy hour discussion night. Next Wednesday, hey Guido's joining me. We're gonna talk about AI and deep fakes and the effect on the porn industry going forward. And then Thursday night game night. We got shit going on, man. Come and join me. And if you haven't hit that notification bell yet, you are missing out on the upcoming videos that we're going to have posted because we have a whole fucking production studio busting out the entertainment like a bunch of bosses. I've got a team of people. I've got old Joe. I've got young Joe. I've got bearded Joe. I've got unbearded Joe. Goatee Joe. Dark goatee Joe. Light goatee Joe. All the people working with me. Would I consider serving a cocktail known as the Commonwealth at my bar? Absolutely not. I would not consider it even for a moment. Anybody who orders a Commonwealth is a bad person and should be slapped. If you order a Commonwealth at my bar, you'll get water and you'll like it and you will tip me and you will go away. Or I will slap you and you will deserve it. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Anyway, yeah, Commonwealth is a dickhead drink. That is a dickhead cocktail. Like 26, 57 ingredients, something like that. Is a dumb amount of ingredients. One for every country in the Commonwealth of Great Britain. Dumb. Anyway, but no, we've got I'm super duper excited. I don't know if I've hidden my excitement enough. But I'm super duper excited to be having an actual interview for my show next week. I'm super duper excited because not only do we have the technology to do it, we have a person who said yes. Ah, see, they said yes. So yeah, that's next week. Are we at the top of the hour yet? We are. That's 1:00. Okay, so that's it. I'm the Old Humble guy. This has been the Old Humble Happy Hour. Come back and join us next week or tomorrow night for game night. We'll be playing all kinds of fun stuff. We'll have an open forum. Restream will be the thing. You have a link in the chat. You'll be able to join us and play the games. I am the Old Humble guy. You are awesome. Continue to be awesome to each other because life is too short for bad whiskey and too long to know nothing about it. Cheers and good night.